He was once hailed as the absolute strongest player. But during the Tower of Heaven raid, his most trusted allies stabbed him in the back. Standing at death's door, he burned his remaining life force to blast his surviving comrades to safety. While still perfectly conscious, he felt the icy grip of his own demise. He was Subaru, the legendary master of the strongest guild, Blue Eyes. It started as a massive alliance. Multiple elite guilds joined forces to conquer the brutal 8th floor boss inside the Tower of Heaven. Throughout the chaotic battle, the Blue Eyes Guild fought with unmatched brilliance. Years of climbing together forged them into a flawless weapon. But without warning, vicious assassins ambushed their vulnerable support unit in the rear. Subaru instantly sensed the killing intent, but the trap had sprung. The deadly Hydra venom already coursed through his veins. Meanwhile, his Blue Eyes comrades were tightly trapped by the massive Hydra's crushing grip. They pushed past their limits and miraculously slaughtered the Hydra. Yet the very next second, the allied guilds launched a devastating sneak attack. Gasping for air, Subaru knelt in the ruins. Half of his iconic mask had shattered into jagged pieces. With his back pressed to the wall, he could not even count the blades and spears piercing his ruined body. Blood loss drained his fading consciousness. Everywhere he looked, the corpses of his fallen friends littered the ground. For a lone wolf like Subaru, these brave souls were the only true friends he had ever known. Now, the lethal venom crippled his natural healing. Even worse, his system fatigue had dangerously skyrocketed to 95. High fatigue meant total system failure. Dropping his poison resistance to 0 was just the terrifying beginning. The lethal truth? Hitting 100 fatigue meant instant death. Refusing to yield, Subaru glared at his treacherous attackers with cold, murderous intent. His blazing eyes locked onto the traitor standing at the front. Gritting his blood-stained teeth, he snarled, "Why are you doing this, you bastard?" Unstoppable fury bled into his every word. It was Itsuki, the gentle-looking guildmaster of Blue Zone, and Subaru's former trusted teammate in Blue Eyes. Stepping closer, Itsuki whispered darkly, "It has been 10 whole years, Subaru. I have plotted this betrayal for a decade, so you should understand." Relishing this long-awaited victory, the traitor continued his twisted monologue as if speaking only to himself. "This was the only absolute way to crush you. But your loyal Blue Eyes dogs put up a fierce fight. They were much tougher than anticipated. You thought you gave me everything, completely blind to the agonizing torment your shadow caused me. So, I chose the world over you." Yet, he carefully hid the true, darker reason behind his betrayal. Masking his venom, Itsuki flashed a sickeningly relieved smile. "I am sorry it ended like this, but I can finally cross the finish line. Do not feel too regretful. History will remember you as a tragic hero." Subaru scoffed. "So, you still refuse to state your real motive?" Exhaling a heavy, blood-filled breath, Subaru pushed past his absolute limit. Trembling, he forced himself to stand. The betrayal made no logical sense. Blue Eyes and Blue Zone had always fought as unbreakable, long-term allies. Itsuki had literally founded Blue Zone as a shadow branch after leaving Blue Eyes. That shared history was why they trusted him until their dying breath. Yet, he ruthlessly butchered their unbreakable secret alliance. Subaru was rotting from Hydra venom. Dozens of fatal wounds pierced his broken body. Yet, his overwhelming aura absolutely refused to submit. After all, he was already a dead man. Spotting a pathetic tremble in Itsuki's legs, Subaru seized the fleeting opening. He instantly ripped a glowing, fan-shaped artifact from his inventory. Itsuki's pupils shrank in sheer terror as he recognized the legendary item. But he was too late. With exactly 4 charges remaining, Subaru gripped the fan and channeled his power. He bit his lip hard. If fate had allowed it, he desperately wanted to survive alongside his precious family. But exactly 4 guild members remained breathing. He roared to the sky, "Blow them away, Aeolus!" At his absolute command, a violent hurricane erupted, blasting his 4 unconscious comrades miles away to total safety. It was a wildly desperate gamble. He could not guarantee his critically wounded friends would survive the rough landing, but it was their only hope. Itsuki lost his mind. "Chase them. Do not let a single one escape." The traitor roared in total panic. The Martial Alliance players immediately dashed toward the escaping lights, but a thunderous voice shattered their advance. "First, you bastards will fight me to the very bitter end. The final victor has not been decided yet." Subaru's fatal fatigue meant his ultimate skill, Lord of Lightning, would barely last a few seconds. But he did not care. Ruthlessly igniting his remaining life force, Subaru raised his head and roared, "Lord of Lightning, descend!" A terrifying spear of black lightning crashed from the heavens, striking him directly. But ominously, the scale of the lightning was incredibly small. In the past, this very technique would swallow everything in a blinding ocean of electric light. Subaru locked into a combat stance. Gripping the vicious spear still buried deep in his abdomen, he violently ripped the weapon from his torn muscles and shattered organs. Blood sprayed everywhere, bringing an agonizing pain that would shatter a normal man's mind. A critical fatigue warning instantly flashed across his vision. But as for a weapon, this would be more than enough. He thrust the spear high, aiming the bloodstained tip at the surrounding horde, his voice sharp as a freezing blade. Tearing away his shattered mask, Subaru tossed it aside, finally exposing his fierce eyes blazing with an unyielding battle aura. Armed with the very blade meant to claim his life, the legendary warrior charged into his ultimate, bloody last stand. Subaru scorched through his final reserves of power in an absolute deathmatch. Yet, the relentless enemy players flooded forward like an endless, suffocating tide. He refused to fall to this pathetic trash. The real Grim Reaper here was his skyrocketing fatigue level. Survival meant nothing to Subaru now, as long as Itsuki perished. But with his fatigue hitting 97, he desperately needed a path to close the distance. Suddenly, a coward launched a lethal ambush from behind. Refusing to dodge, Subaru took the brutal strike head-on with his own flesh. His fatigue instantly spiked to 98. A split second later, another enemy lunged forward with a vicious sword thrust. He absorbed this fatal blow with his body too. Witnessing his bleeding form, the remaining horde swarmed in like vultures, hungry for the glory of his death. The swordsman who landed the strike screamed in pure ecstasy that he had finally killed Subaru. But Subaru just smirked, wild amusement dancing in his cold eyes. What kind of nonsense are you talking about? Before the echoes of his voice faded, devastating black lightning violently erupted. The encroaching enemies were completely obliterated, dropping one by one. With trembling, blood-soaked hands, Subaru gripped the heavy blade buried in his chest. He gritted his teeth against the agony, dragging the steel out inch by inch. Terrified, not a single enemy dared to approach him again. They circled him from a safe distance, whispering through their teeth. Their eyes flashed with fear and twisted excitement. This absolute monster, is he actually going to die? Watching this gruesome spectacle, Itsuki sneered coldly in his mind. Subaru, is your legendary era really ending like this? At that exact second, Subaru's system fatigue critically breached its absolute limit. Even a single twitch could push his fatigue straight to 100, and that next fraction of a second would mean absolute death. But the warrior's creed carved into his soul refused to let him kneel. In a blinding flash, Subaru ignited his final spark of life force, raising his spear and locking dead onto Itsuki. Channeling every ounce of his shattered body's power, he hurled the weapon with terrifying, savage force. Staring down at the blessing of the Archangel in his palm, Itsuki could only let out a mocking, inward sigh. What a pity. Subaru had gifted him that exact item right before they raided the Hydra. Hitting 100 fatigue would instantly trigger it, restoring half the user's stamina. If Subaru had just hoarded it back then, he would easily survive this. Ripping through the air with an eardrum-shattering shriek, the blood-soaked spear shot straight for Itsuki's arrogant face. Tragically, Subaru's fatigue had already maxed out at 100. His consciousness violently snapped into darkness, robbing him of watching Itsuki's gruesome death with his own eyes. But then, the impossible happened. He had clearly died on that battlefield. Yet, his mind was still thinking. The only catch? His 5 constantly strained senses had been completely swallowed by an endless, silent void. Subaru's consciousness drifted through the endless abyss for an eternity. Then, without warning, a violently sharp, foul stench assaulted his nose. His vision was completely pitch black, but feeling was slowly returning to his numb limbs. He violently shoved himself upward, sending a metal lid crashing to the ground with a loud clang. Blinking through the light, he realized he was actually rotting inside a filthy garbage bin. Waking up from death in this bizarre environment, he instinctively checked his player status. Confirming his status panel was a vital priority. He completely ignored the meaningless 61 points of fatigue. What truly shocked him were the pathetic, laughably low levels and trash-tier attributes. Every single legendary skill he had bled for was completely gone. Suddenly, an earth-shattering migraine violently exploded inside his skull, forcing Subaru to grimace in pure agony. But the memories suddenly flooding his brain did not belong to the mighty Subaru. They belonged to the miserable original owner of this weak body. This poor soul had lost both parents as a child, forced to live as a wretched street beggar that society despised. Not only was he constantly starving, but he shared the exact same name as the legendary blue-eyed hero Subaru of the district. For that alone, he was brutally beaten and cursed every single day. But the most bone-chilling revelation was this: 20 entire years had already passed since his death. The discarded metal lid reflected his new face. Messy, black hair, unusually gentle features, and the unmistakably frail, youthful face of a powerless young man. His mind spun, completely unable to process this insane reality. Gritting his teeth, he could only force his weak limbs to climb out of the filthy bin. But having not yet adapted to this pathetically weak vessel, he helplessly collapsed to the ground the very second he crawled out. Right then, a discarded player kit on the ground caught his eye. Subaru snatched it up. He figured it slipped from the original owner's pocket right before the poor guy was shoved into a trash bin. The interface looked nothing like his old gear, but thanks to the dead owner's lingering memories, he expertly hunted for intel on Blue Eyes. The second he hit confirm, an absolute avalanche of headlines flooded the screen. Subaru frantically scoured the feeds, yet, among thousands of reports, he found zero proof that the comrades he sent away had survived. Suddenly, his eyes locked onto a single image, his blood running cold. That bastard Itsuki was actually still breathing. Truth be told, Subaru and Itsuki never had bad blood. They had once been incredibly close. They were battle-hardened teammates who climbed the treacherous tower together. Subaru always believed they were forged in fire friends. But back then, Itsuki abruptly walked away from Blue Eyes without dropping a single word of explanation. Right before vanishing, Itsuki told Subaru to drop his worries. He promised that even from afar, he would forever act as his shadow. A few years later, that traitor founded the Blue Zone Guild. Blue Zone. The very shadow he had promised to become. Snapping out of his thoughts, Subaru mindlessly wandered the neon-lit streets. He figured that after 20 years, humanity would have conquered at least the 10th floor of the Heavenly Tower. Yet, they were pathetically stuck on the 9th. Suddenly, he froze in his tracks, utterly paralyzed by an alert on the player kit. Today was the actual death anniversary of Blue-Eyed Subaru, and insanely enough, the public had built a massive memorial hall in his honor. Completely consumed by burning curiosity, he followed the digital map and arrived at the Subaru Memorial Hall. Seeing it in person, the staggering scale of the place left him breathless. It looked like a grand sanctuary. Guarding the entrance hung a massive replica of his iconic mask, as gigantic as a fortress door. Subaru stepped inside, instantly bombarded by a massive screen broadcasting glorious, cinematic footage of his past battles. A huge crowd was packed tight around the display. Yet, gazing at his own legend, he felt zero pride. He honestly could not grasp why they worshipped him. The broken man standing here and the invincible Subaru on screen shared nothing but a name. He glared at the heroic montage as a razor-sharp question pierced his mind. Who actually built this shrine? And what was their sick endgame? As dark, agonizing memories crashed over him, a blazing inferno of rage ignited in Subaru's chest, forcing his head down. But as the combat footage ended, a voice permanently etched into his very bones echoed out. A voice he could never forget for the rest of his life. There on the giant screen stood Itsuki, flashing a sickeningly fake smile while raining hypocritical praises upon Subaru's legacy. Subaru trembled with volcanic rage. The absolute fury boiling inside his chest threatened to detonate right then and there. In a flash of sickening clarity, he finally understood exactly why this memorial hall and that footage existed. It all traced back to Itsuki's cold parting words. Do not regret this. After you die, history will remember you as a flawless hero. Subaru was the literal embodiment of Blue Eyes, and the Blue Zone Guild was designed as the ultimate Blue Eyes shadow faction. To step into the glorious sunlight after losing Blue Eyes, the Blue Zone had to blatantly hijack his legendary name and holy halo. Their easiest strategy? Forge the dead Subaru into an untouchable, godlike hero worshipped by the masses. They were shamelessly exploiting the ultimate privilege of the dead. Just then, someone abruptly bumped into his back, violently snapping Subaru out of his dark thoughts. Subaru spun around, only to find a clumsy little kid. The child had totally lost his footing and tumbled hard onto the floor. He instantly crouched down to gently pull the kid up, frantically asking if he was hurt. But a split second later, his entire body turned to ice. Absolute shock painted his face. The kid was wearing an exact replica of the blue-eyed Subaru mask. Hearing the sudden commotion, the boy's parents sprinted over in a panic, endlessly asking Subaru if he was okay. Subaru quickly waved them off, explaining that he merely took a light bump. Yet, the creepy sight before him paralyzed him again. Both parents were wearing the exact same iconic masks. Subaru abruptly whipped around, his terrified gaze sweeping across the massive hall. Refusing to believe his own vision, he fiercely rubbed his eyes. But when he finally looked back up, a sharp, freezing breath hitched in his throat. Besides him, almost every single person in the memorial hall wore the blue-eyed Subaru mask. The entire sanctuary was stuffed with photos, ancient relics, and his combat footage. He only spared the bizarre crowd a rough glance before quickly looking away. Venturing deeper into the grand hall, one specific sight forcefully grabbed his attention. He stared dead at his own giant memorial portrait, buried under mountains of fresh flowers. Did this many people actually remember his legacy? Or, on second thought, was this entire circus just a carefully orchestrated, theatrical performance? A fake show designed to hijack the achievements of Blue Eyes? But suddenly, deep within the endless bouquets, Subaru detected a chillingly familiar surge of magical power. Focusing his gaze, he spots it. Hidden among the regular chrysanthemums rests a transparent ice flower, so flawless it defies reality. He instantly shoves his way through the dense crowd, sprinting forward. Bystanders stumble aside, hurling loud curses, but he tunes them out entirely. In a flash, Subaru lunges toward the mountain of flowers, reaching out with desperate impatience. The exact second his fingertips graze the petals, a bone-deep, biting frost races up his skin. As he clutches it, his entire body freezes up. This is no ordinary bloom, it is a chrysanthemum meticulously sculpted from pure ice. His pupils shrink to pinpricks. He knows this chilling technique all too well. This is undeniably Shu's signature handiwork. High above the memorial hall, a cloaked figure stands atop the clock tower. The old man gazes down, silently verifying that another year will fade away without a hitch. Behind him, a robed woman immediately speaks up. Exactly. If we had arrived a second later, we would already be locked in a bloody clash against those Blue Zone hounds. But did you truly have to leave that specific item? Wouldn't a plain chrysanthemum have done the job? The old man slowly tips his hat, a soft chuckle escaping his lifting lips. Maybe, if that guy makes it back alive, he will find the exact flower I left. The very next heartbeat, the old man's wrinkled face shatters like dry clay. Beneath the splitting illusion, a vibrant young man's face emerges. It is none other than Asagi Shu, the legendary Blue Eyes member rumored to have perished decades ago. The woman cannot help but ask, "Do you truly still believe Subaru is alive?" Shu replies with icy calm. After all, he never witnessed the corpse with his own eyes. Every single year on this exact date, he returns here. The woman can only issue a grim reminder. The terrible reality is, we still haven't found him, and Itsuki might uncover our hideout first. But Asagi Shu acts completely deaf to her warning, walking right past her, staring at his fiercely resolute back. The woman suddenly screams out, "If that man were truly still breathing, we wouldn't be cowering in the shadows like this." Deep down, she sighs heavily. It seems this year too, she has completely failed to shatter his stubborn hope. Soon, the bleeding sunset swallows the darkening sky. Subaru spends grueling hours tearing through the memorial hall's surroundings, yet Asagi Shu remains a ghost. Forced to swallow his frustration, he temporarily abandons the hunt and heads back to the host body's dormitory. Once back inside the quiet dorm, he forces his raging heartbeat to settle. Subaru ruthlessly analyzes his current chaotic reality. He hasn't stopped digging for a single shred of intel on the Blue Eyes Guild. But the results remain a maddening, absolute blank. Yet, one glorious truth shines through the darkness. Asagi Shu is undeniably alive. He never expected that stubborn bastard to completely erase his tracks, evading capture for 20 agonizing years. The reason is brutally clear. Itsuki would never let a single soul who knows the bloody truth keep breathing. The only burning question left is, did Asagi Shu survive alone, or are there others lurking in the shadows? He still cannot confirm if the 4 comrades he blasted away alongside Io back then all survived, or just a lucky few. But one absolute certainty burns in his mind. Beyond slaughtering Itsuki and crushing the allied guilds, he now wields one more vital reason to claw his way to the very top. The very people who had been his truest family had seemingly all perished. Yet, in this cursed, rotting world, he alone has been miraculously reborn. The soul-crushing loneliness and the scorching rage that threatens to burn through his chest are suddenly swallowed by a brilliant, new revelation. His current pathetic state does not matter anymore. What truly matters is that they are out there, breathing. As long as they draw breath, the fateful day of their epic reunion is absolutely guaranteed. 2 days vanish, and the brutal beginner tutorial finally kicks off. The arena is a colossal white stage, impossibly vast, like multiple stadiums forcibly stitched together. Hyuga, the ruthless examiner overseeing this bloody beginner trial, stands with his arms sharply crossed, glaring down at a pathetic participant collapsed on the floor. 2 low-tier goblin corpses rot near his feet. Yet, the exhausted rookie is already gasping for air. Disgusted by the miserable sight, Hyuga scowls deeply and asks if he dares to challenge the next hellish stage. A glowing system message flashes directly before the terrified participant's eyes. Will you challenge the next stage? Each advancing stage spawns an additional goblin. Conquering higher brutal difficulties will grant you massive corresponding bonus rewards. The rookie's face drains of all color. He barely survived fighting just 2 trash mobs. There is absolutely no way he survives another round. He instantly forfeits the trial. His trembling figure flashes a bright white before vanishing completely from the arena. Hyuga absolutely despises weak trash, who cannot even survive a basic tutorial from moving onward. His mind immediately drifts to an exceptional prodigy who dominated multiple grueling trial rounds before. Isaac Reinhardt's son wielded monstrous talent that easily eclipsed his own noble bloodline, slaughtering over 20 goblins before finally stopping. Hyuga cannot help but sneer in disgust. This year's tutorial is an absolute joke. Kids these days are nothing but pathetic weaklings. But as his eyes lock onto the next challenger's name on the list, his breath severely hitches. It is a legendary name carved into history, a figure that even Hyuga himself once worshipped like a god. Facing this new contestant, his first reaction isn't excitement. It's absolute exhaustion. He sighs heavily. This kid is doomed to endless suffering thanks to his name. Everywhere he goes, people will compare him to the legendary Subaru. He is even gripping the exact same style of sword that Subaru used to wield. But all of that only matters if he survives the trial first. Suddenly, a glowing system window flashes right in front of Subaru's eyes. 2 goblins are spawning. Please eliminate the targets. The vile creatures clutch poison-coated spikes, unleashing ear-piercing shrieks that echo like deranged monkeys. The very second the monsters drop into their combat stances, Hugo officially announces the start of the trial. But in that exact same heartbeat, Subaru blasts forward through the air. A terrifying flash of cold steel erupts. The blade sings a deadly melody, cleanly severing 2 necks at once. In a single blink, both goblin heads are already tumbling through the air. Hugo cannot believe his own eyes. His jaw drops, staring in absolute paralyzed shock. He whips his head back toward the boy, sharing the legend's name. Over the 2 days before this tutorial, Subaru had been relentlessly adapting to his new body. Judging solely by the stats, the original owner of this body actually possessed terrifying latent talent. He just never knew how to unlock it. The first stage goblins let out their final, pathetic gasps. A system prompt asking to challenge the next stage instantly materializes, and as if he has been craving this exact moment, he selects continue without a drop of hesitation. Soon, Hugo is completely nailed to the floor by the unbelievable bloodbath. A severed goblin head rolls weakly against his boots. He started out counting the mounting corpses, but quickly abandoned the impossible task. According to the system rules, these monster corpses will only vanish once Subaru finishes his battle, but the slaughter never stops. The bodies pile higher and higher until the entire trial arena is drowning in a sea of monster flesh. Hugo stares unblinkingly at Subaru's flawless footwork, terrified of missing even a fraction of a second of this masterclass. This is undoubtedly the most terrifyingly gifted prodigy he has ever witnessed. He isn't just mindlessly swinging his blade. He is reading the entire battlefield 2, 3 moves in advance. This transcends mere combat skill. This is pure martial arts mastery. Even Hugo himself could never dream of achieving such godly bodily control. He isn't like Isaac, possessing flashy magic, and his physical stats don't seem particularly monstrous either. Yet, even completely surrounded by 50 goblins, he radiates a crushing aura. Hugo feels his scalp tingle, completely losing his voice. Could this absolute monster actually be Subaru reincarnated? How on earth is a rookie moving with such lethal perfection? In a flash, Subaru casually executes the final goblin. A crimson system alert violently flashes. Stage 49 cleared. Challenge the final boss. Conquering this ultimate stage will unlock an incredible, hidden system reward. Stage 50 is the absolute peak of the beginner tutorial. Yet, Subaru doesn't blink, instantly smashing the button to continue his massacre. In the next heartbeat, a suffocating demonic pressure crushes down on the entire room. The stone floor violently erupts, shattering into pieces. A monstrous hand violently punches up from the depths of the earth. Getting a clear look at the boss, Hugo is instantly paralyzed with dread. Towering before Subaru is a grotesque, 2-meter-tall pig-headed abomination with a sickeningly bloated body. A terrifying warning flashes. The Goblin King sensed the 49th stage massacre, entering a state of absolute, bloodthirsty rage. Hugo desperately screams at the boy. It is still not too late to surrender and save your own life. I know you are a monster, but the final boss is an unbeatable nightmare. With your current beginner stats, your attacks will not even leave a scratch. It is highly doubtful your beginner sword can even pierce that mutant's thick, armored hide. Subaru is fully aware this Goblin King is an impossible raid boss never meant to be killed here, but the legendary warrior already has a flawless execution plan. Without warning, Subaru actually drops his only weapon, casually letting the blade clatter to the ground. Hugo's mind completely short-circuits. Kid, you have officially lost your damn mind. I knew you were completely insane from the very start, but before he can finish his frantic warning, the Goblin King unleashes a deafening roar. The giant mutant charges Subaru, kicking up a terrifying hurricane of wind. Out of nowhere, a viciously fast poison needle tears through the air, embedding itself perfectly into the Goblin King's massive thigh. The beast's entire massive frame locks up, slamming on the brakes in sheer panic. It glares at Subaru, who is calmly rummaging through the mountain of slaughtered goblins. He slowly rises, gripping a deadly fistful of toxic spikes. His voice is chillingly calm, yet radiating a crushing intent to kill. Let us make a little gamble on your pathetic fate. Let's see if you smash me, or if you become a toxic pincushion. Instantly, Subaru violently unleashes 2 lethal spikes. The poison needles shred the air like sniper rounds, burying themselves flawlessly deep into both of the Goblin King's eyes. The Goblin King clutches its ruined eyes with both hands, unleashing a blood-curdling shriek of pure agony. It swings its massive hammer in a blind frenzy, but every strike is utterly futile. Crippled and sightless, the monstrous boss stands absolutely zero chance of catching Subaru, who maintains extreme distance with terrifying precision. Subaru smoothly widens the gap once more, sliding the toxic needles he salvaged from the mountain of corpses perfectly between his fingers. His mind drifted back to those grueling days spent mastering the deadly art of knife throwing. Back when he first began, his clumsy blades would completely miss their designated marks almost every single time. During one session, Reina happened to wander by and catch him struggling with his technique. As fate decided, she was an absolute master of concealed weaponry. Right then and there, she demanded to show him the proper way. Shifting into a flawless stance, she casually snatched up a simple pen. A split second later, the ordinary pen launched forward, burying itself dead center into the bullseye. Gazing at the target, she stated coldly, "Once you master a weapon's true center of gravity, absolutely anything can become a deadly throwing knife." Back in the brutal present, the venomous needles continuously pierce the Goblin King's flesh, executing his flawless lethal vision perfectly. Subaru systematically drives the toxic spikes into every single vital point on the monster's massive frame. The destructive power of hidden weapons multiplies with raw rotational force. Any slight hesitation instantly shatters your lethal accuracy. This was Reina's golden philosophy, the exact wisdom that finally pushed Subaru across the ultimate threshold of throwing mastery. Watching this brutal massacre, Hugo finally exhales a breath of relief. Neither the monster corpses nor the needles will vanish before the tutorial ends. He never imagined any player could exploit the absolute limits of the system rules this brilliantly. It is not merely his brutal swordsmanship tearing through goblins, but this terrifying precision with hidden weapons. This guy is an absolute monstrous genius. But does the word genius truly do him justice? No matter how monstrous the boss's vitality is, hundreds of toxic spikes have already deeply buried into its flesh. One tiny needle might lack lethal force, but with massive waves of deadly venom violently flooding its entire system, the brutal outcome is sealed. Subaru calmly bends down, reclaiming the blood-stained blade that had fallen to the cold earth at the very beginning. Stepping forward with deadly purpose, he locks onto the dying monster's thick neck, viciously driving the cold steel straight through in one devastating thrust. Already hovering at death's dark door from overwhelming venom, the mighty boss instantly perishes the exact second the blade shatters its spine. As the creature completely collapses, a glowing system prompt directly flashes before Subaru's eyes. The Goblin King is utterly defeated. He finally exhales a heavy breath. They seriously drop an absolute nightmare like this into a beginner tutorial and expect ordinary rookies to slaughter it. If I had not weaponized that potent goblin venom, butchering this absolute beast would not have been easy. Immediately following his victory, multiple golden reward notifications rapidly flood his vision. In this tutorial stage, a massive total of 2,425 achievement points have been acquired, fully unlocking the secret shop. The store solely reveals legendary items matching the player's current balance. Subaru quickly opens the glowing marketplace. This is the very first time he has ever witnessed this legendary hidden interface. After all, the absolute highest tutorial record had only ever reached stage 28, and the breathtaking catalog he is currently staring at remains a mythical shop page no human has ever witnessed. Flipping to the legendary tier costing over 1,000 points, a soft gasp naturally escapes his lips. He never expected such terrifyingly overpowered artifacts could actually be sold inside a mere tutorial shop. Here lies an unnamed demonic blade, forged by the Dark Master Kindred, purposely left without any title because it was deemed a catastrophic failure. The blade devours stamina and mental energy, violently trading raw life force for unrivaled sharpness and massively enhanced physical power. But the fatal flaw is its massive stamina drain. Furthermore, Subaru absolutely needs his precious energy to continuously unleash destructive lightning skills. Therefore, what he truly needs is not some cursed demonic weapon, but a radiant holy sword. The second magnificent artifact catching his intense gaze is the holy sword, Miranda. Forged from pure mithril, it boasts overwhelming strength, flawless sharpness, and incredible bonus effects perfectly suiting Subaru's lethal style. Yet, staring at the holy sword Miranda, Subaru strangely finds himself unable to feel any genuine interest. Perhaps the godly equipment he once wielded in the past was simply far too overwhelmingly powerful. Spending these hard-earned points marks a brand new beginning, demanding absolute, calculated caution. Suddenly, a peculiar hidden skill entry deeply captivates Subaru's attention. The deeper into the catalog he scrolls, the more ridiculously expensive the abilities become. Yet, upon turning the next page, the very first anomaly to unexpectedly appear is actually an F-rank skill. Subaru has absolutely never encountered a strange ability like this, quickly theorizing it might perfectly suppress the agonizing side effects of the demonic blade or his explosive lightning skills. Seeing a powerful tactical possibility, he buys it instantly without any hesitation. Ultimately, he decisively purchases the unnamed demonic blade, alongside the mysterious Wedge of Greed. This specific ability shares terrifyingly high compatibility with the cursed sword, Rather than letting such potential rot unused, it is infinitely better to force it to prove its devastating value from the start. Sensing that Subaru has finished claiming his epic rewards, Hugo quietly steps up right behind him. To Hugo, the exact skill and item Subaru just picked make absolutely zero sense in this situation. He cannot hold back his confusion. Why pick garbage like that? Not only is it useless, but the efficiency is rock bottom. Subaru narrows his eyes. Why do I owe you an explanation? Hugo flares up at the blunt disrespect, demanding actual answers. But Hugo quickly swallows his bruised pride, trying to stand in the rookie's shoes. Such intense beginner weariness is normal. Staring right back at Hugo, Subaru remembers his initial shock. He had barely controlled his expression upon seeing the examiner's face. In his past life, Hugo had just been a lowly Knights Guild apprentice. During the legendary clash between Night Nation and Blue Eyes, a much younger Hugo had approached Subaru with a flushed face, desperately begging for his autograph. He had shoved the paper forward stiffly. His intense stare had radiated an absurd, almost suffocating pressure. Subaru never imagined that the nervous brat from back then would now sit as the high and mighty beginner tutorial examiner. Meanwhile, Subaru is now the completely helpless novice who has just stepped into the tower. Snapping back to reality, Subaru cuts off Hugo's lecture. He refuses to explain, demanding absolute secrecy regarding his tutorial results. But Hugo instantly puts on his elder persona. Since you insist on acting like a rebellious punk, you clearly lack basic manners. I will just have to teach you properly from scratch. Subaru just rolls his eyes and turns away. Panicking, Hugo desperately pivots, tossing out an olive branch about joining the prestigious Knights Guild. Without even glancing back, Subaru throws a cold response. Not interested. A system screen flashes. Proceed to floor 2. Seeing the boy actually leaving, Hugo scrambles forward, desperately trying to block his exit. But Subaru has already locked in the floor transfer. His body dissolves into pixels. Left standing in the dust, Hugo sighs helplessly, thinking he totally misjudged this uniquely arrogant young man. A blinding flash later, Subaru materializes on floor 2. Every new floor acts as a spawn hub village, but floor 2 is a massively overpopulated world. Stepping into the chaotic marketplace, Subaru stands dead still, letting the bustling crowd wash right past him. Reaching this floor is a massive milestone. It is not just about clearing the beginner tutorial. It marks the novice truly stepping into the brutal war zone as a real player. But for Subaru, this milestone feels like heavy iron shackles. He has walked this blood-soaked path once before. This time, he must do better to save his waiting comrades, and brutally avenge the cruel ends everyone suffered. After that, Subaru heads to the Central District to rent a private training room. It is a famous grinding spot for novice hunters. The owner casually sizes him up. What floor are you from? Subaru replies he just cleared floor 1. The owner suggests sticking to training room number 1, which features basic gear like straw dummies and practice mannequins. But Subaru has no time for child's play. Without hesitation, he directly demands room number 5. The owner scowls at the utter disrespect. I kindly advise room number 1, and you spit in my face? But Subaru stands firm on number 5. Grumbling, the owner hands over the key, sharply reminding him there are absolutely zero refunds for leaving halfway. Subaru tells him not to worry, though the old man might need to keep a close eye on that room. The higher the room number, the deadlier the difficulty. Weak hunters often die in their own training sessions. Standing before room number 5, Subaru slowly pushes open the heavy iron door. The second he enters, training begins. He refuses to waste a single second here. Slowly, he draws the cursed demonic sword. Boom! A monstrous curse instantly sweeps through his veins. The suffocating terror radiating from the blade is undeniable. To avoid being devoured alive by this dark abyss, he has to completely shatter his own limits. Suddenly, the sword's toxic corrosion violently spikes, and he coughs up a mouthful of blood. He never expected this beginner body to hit its limit so fast, but a bloody grin spreads across his face. This pathetic body was always weak. Ding! A system prompt echoes. Wedge of Greed is resisting the demonic sword. Partial resistance successful. Instantly, he easily raises the heavy blade. This is his masterstroke. He only dared to pick this suicidal demonic weapon because he locked down that exact skill. As his hidden attributes skyrocket further, Subaru lets out a low, menacing laugh. The passive skill perfectly chains the curse. Now, the real slaughter begins. In a flash, his figure violently rockets forward. To him, the lethal traps filling the room were practically mere decorations. 10 minutes later, the half-asleep owner thought he caught a fleeting glimpse of a shadowy figure. The owner rubbed his heavy eyes. Impossible, right? Barely 10 minutes had passed since he entered. Swallowing his growing doubt, he cautiously approached the heavy door of room number 5. After knocking repeatedly with zero response, he shoved the door wide open. But the absolute devastation inside made him suck in a terrified, sharp breath on the spot. Training room number 5 had been utterly reduced to a ruined wasteland. with every single deadly trap completely shredded apart. After a full night, Subaru finally managed to sleep deeply, but his battered body still ached with an agonizing soreness. Shortly after, he dragged himself into a bustling tavern. The moment he slumped into a seat, the crushing burden on his muscles magically eased up quite a bit. Thanks to the legendary Wedge of Greed, he had successfully extracted the terrifying power of the demonic sword. Ordinarily, with his pathetic stats, wielding that demonic sword should have instantly killed him. But the flawless synergy between the Wedge of Greed and the cursed blade needed no more proof. This phenomenal breakthrough meant it could absolutely synergize perfectly with his crackling lightning power as well. Moving forward, the only annoying barriers holding him back were his pathetic skills and level. But the pathetic Subaru of the past had barely scraped by with a miserable 50 credit points all year round. Just as Subaru silently mocked his former pathetic self for being dead broke, he noticed some guy downstairs loudly live-streaming to a crowd. If a viewer tipped massive cash, the desperate broadcaster would humiliate himself doing whatever they demanded. Suddenly, the guy poured scalding coffee over his own head. "Thank you so much for the epic donation, boss." Subaru felt intensely awkward watching this pathetic display. Throwing away your dignity for cash was just pathetic. But the very moment money was mentioned, a hungry, ambitious glint flashed fiercely in his eyes. He had spent an entire day analyzing this crazy new reality. This era was completely dominated by the live streaming industry. Maybe he could rake in crazy donations, or at least secure a solid income to fund his explosive growth. Suddenly, a chilling voice called his name from behind. So, the trash actually crawled up here. As the arrogant man swaggered over, he radiated an oppressive wave of pressure. "I really never expected to spot you here. Do you live in this dump, too?" The instant that face appeared, Subaru's expression darkened, and his trembling body instinctively flinched backward in pure reflex. Clearly, the original owner had suffered an extremely toxic, nightmarish history with this arrogant bastard. Seeing him stay completely silent, the man's arrogant tone turned bone-chillingly cold. "A good friend is talking right to your face, and you dare pretend to be deaf?" Subaru recognized this suffocating sensation instantly. It was not mere disgust, it was bone-chilling fear. He forced his head up. "I just arrived here. What exactly do you want with me?" But even as he spoke, his clenched fingers trembled uncontrollably against his will. The man sat down right beside him as if nothing was wrong. What a terrifying surprise. "Even a worthless piece of trash like you somehow passed the hunter exam. I honestly thought those goblins would have ripped you to shreds." Subaru's hidden fury instantly ignited. He instantly remembered who this scumbag was. His name was Isaac, the very monster who had relentlessly bullied the former Subaru without mercy. The reason was sickeningly simple. Just because he shared the identical name as the legendary Subaru from 20 years ago, no matter how pathetically the original owner begged, Isaac never once stopped his cruelty. Because of that endless torment, the former soul had feared him down to his very bones. Subaru violently cursed in his mind, absolute idiot, getting brutally bullied like that and never once fighting back. But right now, he had zero time to waste on Isaac. After chugging the last drop of his bitter coffee, he decisively stood up to leave. Isaac let out a sinister chuckle, mockingly ordering Subaru to buy him another round. Subaru stood his ground with icy calm. "If you want a drink, pay for it yourself. Your hands are not shattered, and your legs are not crippled." Those defiant words completely set Isaac off. "How dare you talk to me like that? Who suddenly possessed you?" He violently ordered Subaru to sit down. Subaru could not even be bothered to spare him a glance, simply turning his back to leave. It was not that he refused to violently avenge the original owner's pathetic suffering. He simply had vastly more important things to do right now. But at that exact moment, Isaac aggressively grabbed his arm. Flashing a terrifying sadistic grin, he glared at Subaru's back. "In such a massive hurry to leave? Want to see what happens to trash that tries running?" Subaru's eyes flashed cold. "I strongly advise you to let go. It is purely for your own safety. Otherwise, ending up with a brutally broken arm or a shattered leg would be your best-case scenario." The moment those lethal words left his mouth, everyone in the coffee shop stared. Isaac's arrogant face instantly turned ashen pale. "Do not get too full of yourself." He gritted his teeth, knowing damn well he could not make a violent public scene, or he would definitely end up at a humiliating disadvantage. He forced out two hollow laughs. "Looks like your temper has massively grown lately. You cannot even take a simple joke anymore. Fine, go do whatever you desperately need to do. Hurry up and leave." But then he revealed a purely vicious, murderous glare in his eyes. "Just pray I never catch you slipping, or I will end your miserable life." Dropping that lethal threat, Isaac strutted out while acting like absolutely nothing had happened. What he failed to realize was that this foolish threat had already started the deadly countdown on his very own life. There were mainly two crucial paths for a hunter's explosive growth. The first was trials, securing unimaginably rich rewards through the tower's epic tests. The second path meant hunting. He had to step outside the safe zone to slaughter monsters or clear special floor dungeons just to grind out experience points. But out there, death was absolute. Naturally, Subaru chose the path of blood and hunting to awaken his true growth. Today, he had just slaughtered a goblin for a handful of gold coins. It was a solid payday for a rookie. In his past life, hunting was exactly how he crawled his way to the very top. Right then, he flipped open his communicator and spotted an active live stream. Bored out of his mind, he tapped in to see the hype. The viewer count hit a staggering 80,000. Subaru was completely stunned by the massive wave of donations, wondering just how much dirty money this faker had made. The ultimate irony? This pathetic faker was actually streaming under Subaru's old alias, even wearing his exact signature mask. In mere minutes, this total imposter easily raked in 20,000 credit points. Rabid fans were throwing premium gifts like absolute maniacs. Subaru squeezed his fists, his fingers shaking with pure, unadulterated rage. He could hunt for an entire year and never touch the cash this guy made in one broadcast. Walking the old, bloody path was no longer an option. He needed to ride this streaming wave to stack his wealth properly. Besides, the entire tower was already busy ripping off his legendary identity. If the original king stepped up to imitate himself, just how explosive would the absolute backlash be? A dark grin spread as Subaru slowly stood up. It was settled. Tonight, he would officially activate his streaming privileges. But first, he urgently needed to wipe this floor clean of monsters. Almost instantly, 4 or 5 hideous goblins blocked his path. Each beast was a nightmare made flesh, yet Subaru's icy gaze did not shift a single inch. With the demonic sword's vile corrosion finally suppressed, his dormant aura flowed flawlessly. Right now, he was absolutely furious, making these creatures the ultimate punching bags. He ruthlessly launched his heavy boot straight into a goblin's ugly face. Blurring like a ghost, he completely ignored the weak underlings, lunging directly for the massive goblin leader. In a single heartbeat, he vaulted high above the beast. One blinding flash of cold steel later, the leader's severed head hit the dirt. System prompt triggered. The hidden orc nest has been completely annihilated. Later that night, Subaru returned home and dusted off his iconic mask. He honestly never thought the day would come when he would don this terrifying disguise again. Now, he would stream doing what he did best. A thrilling thought hit him. What insane chaos would unfold when the real Subaru imitated himself? The name Subaru was a goldmine for internet traffic, but he owned that legend. Meanwhile, Wa from a top-tier streaming guild stared intensely at her monitor. Her exasperated partner sighed heavily. Why do you constantly obsess over these fake Subaru streams? There are plenty of solid rookies out there. If our guild cannot find a star to drive massive traffic soon, we are heading straight toward bankruptcy. Wa immediately snapped at him to shut up. She scoured these endless streams for one reason, to find the real, undisputed Subaru hiding among the trash. Suddenly, her eyes lit up brightly. Yet another so-called Subaru had just gone live. But as she loaded into the broadcast, she quickly realized she was the single only viewer there. Her partner totally broke down, asking why she obsessed over dead streams with 0 viewers. She whispered softly, "Every time a rookie wears this mask, I just desperately hope." Meanwhile, Subaru launched his broadcast and stepped into the brutal second-floor trial simultaneously. His only mission? Clear the dungeon monsters and hunt down the exit. As he marched forward, he casually glanced over at the painfully low viewer count. But even after a full 10 minutes dragged by, only 2 lonely souls had bothered to join. Watching his raw movements, the chat immediately guessed it was his very first time climbing the tower. Subaru nodded calmly. Yes, it really is my first time here. That brutal honesty only made his viewers panic harder. A rookie would not even know the correct path. As he walked forward, a dark shadow materialized right ahead of Subaru. A vicious bat monster attempted a lethal ambush while he was completely distracted by the chat. Without even bothering to look up, Subaru blindly snatched the beast by its skull. Flexing his powerful right arm, he violently slammed it straight into the stone floor. "It is my first stream and you dare disturb my peace? You are absolutely courting death." With the bat completely crushed, the system awarded him 1 single credit point. Only then did he smirk at the chat. "It is my first run here, but trust me, there will be 0 problems." Moments later, he fearlessly crossed the threshold into the actual second-floor trial zone. By this moment, his stream audience had barely ticked up to 3. Someone called him way too reckless. Since almost nobody dared to broadcast on floor 2, Subaru stated bluntly that he was desperate for cash and credit points, shamelessly asking the chat for their full support. The anxious viewers warned him against deadly greed, insisting that joining a party was the only way to survive. He coldly thanked them for the advice but instantly rejected it. Teaming up with dead weight would only drag down his absolute slaughtering speed. Seeing his arrogant confidence, someone laughed. Fools chasing gold usually die buried beneath it. Yet, surprisingly, others actually cheered for him. After all, stealing Subaru's legendary name guaranteed instant viral fame. Then, with a violent whoosh, Subaru's physical figure completely vanished from his spot, ready for pure carnage. He sprints forward, drawing the blade at his waist. In a single, devastating flash, the monster ahead is cleanly decapitated. The viewers are left absolutely speechless. No one even caught a glimpse of his sword's path. Suddenly, a massive swarm of bloodthirsty bats surges toward him. Yet, the monstrous horde cannot even touch his shadow. A single, devastating horizontal sweep slaughters over 10 beasts instantly. Meanwhile, the livestream's viewer count quickly breaks past 10. With every monstrous kill, he racks up multiple achievement points. Adding insult to injury, he casually lectures the chat. Just listen closely, and you can easily predict their attack angles. Within mere minutes, he completely annihilates the entire bat colony in the area. The chat explodes with rage. You totally lied to us. There is no way you are a beginner. You are a legendary hardcore player, right? Subaru seriously reviews his own explanation, wondering if he missed any tiny flaws. However, the baffled viewers simply cannot comprehend his insane logic, swearing this is just the terrifying instinct of a top-tier player. Subaru simply continues walking deeper, wanting to hoard maximum achievement points before exiting. Suddenly, a sharp-eyed viewer notices something terribly wrong. He has been walking in a dead straight line the entire time. Subaru innocently explains, "It is my first time exploring here, and my very first time streaming, too." Pushing forward, he senses an unnatural concentration of monstrous aura ahead. Looking up, he spots the cavern walls suffocating under a massive colony of bats. Suddenly, hundreds of glowing eyes snap open in unison. Panic floods the chat. This guy is completely dead. Suddenly, a wealthy viewer drops a bounty mission. Annihilate all bats for a massive reward of 100 points. Seeing that bounty, Subaru's eyes gleam with excitement. Yesterday, he grinded all day for a measly few dozen points, yet this single bounty offers 100. The viewers immediately mock him. Do not fall for the bait. Throwing your life away for 100 points is crazy. But Subaru's next words instantly ignite the stream. Thanks for the easy 100 points. Meanwhile, at the guild, a massive hand slams the table. WA's partner is practically having a meltdown. He had just discovered a promising new streamer who miraculously survived all the way to the brutal 6th floor, only for the guy to suddenly disconnect, meaning all his hard-earned donation money just vanished into thin air. Realizing WA is sitting right next to him, he quickly panics and apologizes. "I was way too loud. I am so sorry for disturbing you." But WA completely ignores him. Her eyes are locked onto the screen, utterly paralyzed by shock. As a die-hard Subaru fan, she knows his combat rhythm, deadly habits, and movement patterns to a terrifying degree. As her partner leans in, she softly gasps. Subaru might have actually returned. Her partner sharply inhales. Just how many monsters has this absolute madman butchered? Meanwhile, Subaru's bloody stream has already spiked to 15 captive viewers. Under his overwhelming slaughter, the bat horde is practically extinct. Suddenly, Shu's burning question from his past life echoes in his mind. Even when shifting your blade mid-swing, your breathing and line of sight never waver. It looks like from the very start, you only ever launched one single strike. Are you somehow reading your opponent's flow and pre-calculating every single devastating counterattack? But Subaru never understood a word of that praise. He never overthinks combat. He simply fights using his own pure instincts. If you cannot even do something this basic, that would be pathetic. Shu had fiercely argued back. Normal people cannot pull that off. Shu used to constantly complain about his awful teaching. You need to look people in the eye and explain things clearly. Remembering that, Subaru decides to break down his combat logic for the stream. When one-eyed bats attack, they blindly charge headfirst. The larger the swarm, the more massive their openings become. Speaking calmly, he unleashes a flawless strike as a live demonstration. See? Just like this, and problem solved. He explains everything dead seriously with a flawless visual guide, completely unaware if his viewers can process it. Predictably, the chat absolutely erupts. That is literally not an explanation. I am a 4th floor veteran, and a 2nd floor beginner is lecturing me right now. You are basically telling us that if we just move our legs, we can walk. Subaru smoothly sheathes his blade, finding this whole communication thing way too exhausting. Thankfully, a viewer reminds him to claim his bounty points. Without that quick reminder, he definitely would have forgotten. He grabs his phone, ready to cash in his hard-earned rewards. But staring at the screen, he has no clue which button to press, freezing in total awkward silence. The chat loses their minds. Just click it already. Blushing slightly, Subaru awkwardly admits, "It is my first time streaming, so I am terrible at claiming bounties." The entire audience completely loses it. This absolute monster really is a total rookie. Following the chat's painful step-by-step guidance, he finally secures his massive point payout. With his wallet full, he marches toward the next zone, the final bloody section of this floor. Currently, he holds 150 points and 37 achievement points. A sudden scream echoed through the streaming guild. Wika had only one word for this rookie. Insane. This guy is definitely Subaru reincarnated. We must recruit him. Her partner just stared, utterly speechless. Wika is acting up again, he thought. If he is truly that strong, why would he choose us? The mere mention of Subaru always made her lose control. Wika already looked completely obsessed with him. My head is spinning. Is this the passion of youth? Her partner suddenly yelled, "No way. You cannot seriously be planning to recruit him." Wika bluntly confirmed she was. Do you dare disagree? Her partner pushed back. He might be special, but he is just a zero-viewer rookie who barely started. He completely fails our recruitment standards. Wika understood the rules perfectly, yet her determination remained entirely unshaken. She trusted her flawless instincts. While unspoken, she was absolutely certain of one thing. This was the genuine Subaru. His physical form and face had changed entirely, but his oppressive aura and lethal combat rhythm were identical. Meanwhile, Subaru stood before a colossal door. This had to be the dungeon boss room. Crossing it meant advancing floors. With one push, the massive gates opened. A terrifying presence lurked inside. As the heavy doors groaned open, a massive werewolf sat waiting in the shadows. This was Greg the Wolf Warrior, a nightmare opponent, infamous for his devastating one-hit kill attack power. The live chat immediately spammed warnings to Subaru. This monster is absurdly strong. Top players died here 8 times before clearing it. The system suddenly flashed a chilling red notification. Earn the Wolf Warrior's approval to pass the gate and enter the trial. This beast was no simple hunting mob. He assessed a hunter's true strength, acting as the absolute gatekeeper who decided if a challenger could survive the next grueling stage. Suddenly, Subaru received a donation quest. Defeat the Wolf Warrior for 3,000 credit points. He froze completely. 3,000 credit points was an unimaginable fortune. Who exactly dropped such an insane bounty? Meanwhile, his live stream viewership had spiked to 20 people. The chat unanimously begged him to retreat. The Wolf Warrior possessed monstrous strength, and no one had ever managed to defeat him. The beast curled his lips into a sinister grin. So, you are today's challenger? He looked genuinely curious. Did you come alone? Subaru locked eyes with him, his tone icy. Are you blind? Who else is here? The beast roared with laughter. Fascinating. I smell the aura of a supreme powerhouse on you. A viewer immediately scoffed. He said I smelled like a goblin king too, they typed. But Subaru knew the beast was not wrong. This monster could detect a very unique scent. It was not mere sweat, but a person's true nature and soul. You already qualify to pass, the beast declared. Stepping aside, he respectfully opened the path forward. The chat exploded in absolute shock. There is actually a bypass mode? This is my first time seeing this. Even Subaru had never seen this in his past life. Since I am here, my real target is you. The beast froze. Should your target not be the door? Subaru smirked coldly. I want both. Someone just paid 3,000 credit points for your head. The beast nodded. As expected of a man carrying a supreme soul. Meanwhile, back at the streaming guild, Wika and her partner stood before their strict superior. Sitting menacingly across the desk was John Tail, department head of Azure Sky Entertainment. This new rookie. How many viewers does he have right now? Her partner looked extremely awkward. Around 20, he muttered. Wika instantly fired back. It is 30 now. She felt zero shame. The supervisor glared. You dragged me here for 30 viewers? Do you think I am blind to you gambling on company time? I demanded raw potential, and you bring me a 20-viewer nobody. Wika instantly corrected him. 30 viewers. The supervisor stared blankly. Stop focusing on meaningless details. Wika relentlessly twisted the knife further. I just checked again. It is already over 40. The growth rate is insane. The supervisor completely lost his temper. Are you even listening to me? Meanwhile, Subaru and the terrifying Wolf Warrior prepared for a deathmatch. The beast's devastating aura erupted. You want my life? Keep dreaming. Subaru slowly unsheathed his dark blade. We will know soon enough. Suddenly, the glowing system panel flashed a dire warning. The unnamed demonic blade is devouring user stamina and attributes. Attack power will skyrocket based on the amount consumed. Subaru's stamina plummets rapidly, yet his icy expression remains completely unchanged. He stays flawlessly calm as the Wedge of Greed fiercely resists the dark backlash of the unnamed demonic blade. Soon, the negative effects are violently suppressed, twisting energy into enhancement. Suddenly, the Wolf Warrior fiercely lunges forward. With a single thunderous step, the beast vanishes. He reappears instantly, lethal claws slashing directly towards Subaru's face. Subaru instantly draws his blade to block. Sparks violently explode as steel meets claw. The wolf warrior sharply retracts, gathering terrifying power. His massive claws unleash rapid, devastating strikes, whipping fiercely through the air. An ordinary hunter would be instantly shredded by this insane speed. Fortunately, Subaru is far beyond ordinary. The beast seizes a deadly opening, striking a fatal blind spot, but Subaru already predicted this exact move. Meeting this monster head-on is a massive disadvantage. The wolf warrior roars with brutal laughter. Now that is a true warrior. Subaru's figure glides smoothly aside, narrowly dodging the crushing blow. The enraged beast glares and sneers coldly. As you are now, you are no match for me. You wish to kill me? Pure arrogance. But right then, Subaru's ultimate charge completes. In a split second, he brings his heavy blade crashing down, colliding head-on with the raging beast. The cavern explodes with an ear-piercing screech of clashing metal. Meanwhile, the live-stream audience hopelessly shakes their heads. If he is only defending, he will never beat that monster. The wolf warrior is insanely overpowered. This rookie has zero chance. Reality is painfully cruel. Following that brutal exchange, the beast blasts Subaru straight into the solid cavern wall. Yet, the main character suffers no serious damage. Sometimes, absolute technical mastery completely overpowers raw brute force. The monster sneers arrogantly. You lack true strength, but your resistance pleases me. I shall acknowledge you as a warrior. Instantly, he spreads his massive claws as a suffocating killing intent descends. It is time to end this. Return in your next life, and I will wait for your challenge. As the lethal claw crashes down, the stone wall behind Subaru shatters into utter dust. Unfortunately for the beast, Subaru perfectly evades the devastating strike with minimal effort. He replies with a freezing glare. That line belongs to me. Your attacks are pathetically obvious. Anyone slightly faster than you can easily dodge them all. In a blinding flash, Subaru reverses his demonic blade, carving a horrific, blood-soaked gorge across the beast's chest, directly exposing pure white bone. The mighty wolf warrior howls in sheer, agonizing pain. Seizing the ultimate opening, Subaru leaps fiercely upward in pursuit. He swings his glowing blade, channeling every ounce of absolute power to his maximum limit. The devastating sword strike descends. Despite the beast's legendary strength, he absolutely cannot withstand this maximum power execution. Subaru's gaze remains ruthlessly cold and hardened, as his long blade smoothly slides right back into its bloody sheath. 3,000 credit points secured. As the beast fades into death, he mutters weakly, "Magnificent. You truly are a warrior." The instant the boss falls, Subaru's level and stats skyrocket across the board. He claims 500 achievement points, but the victory demands a heavy toll. His physical injuries are incredibly severe. Suddenly, the livestream chat absolutely explodes into pure chaos. He actually did it. That boss has never been defeated before, and he just died by this rookie's hands. Subaru exhales a long, heavy breath. Pushing this mortal body to such an extreme limit is genuinely exhausting. Simultaneously, the live viewers surge to 56, and popularity rapidly climbs. Task fully completed, he receives 3,000 credit points. He never imagined a single day of streaming would actually yield far more credit points than his entire previous monthly income. He will consume every single asset to forge absolute strength. Behind the fallen beast, a massive stone door opens automatically. Instantly, a glowing system notification pops onto his digital panel. Even the hardcore stream viewers completely freeze in utter disbelief. The system unexpectedly presents two diverging paths. The left leads to the elemental trial, and the right promises the laws of nature. Revealing 13 combined choices entirely, over 50 viewers are stunned, speechless, frantically scrambling to double-check the historical trial records. Usually, a maximum of 16 paths appear in history. Without hesitation, Subaru selects the devastating Trial of Thunder. In his tragic past life, this was his exact destiny. And the frantic chat completely agrees with his bold decision. This lightning route holds maximum value, but packs the highest lethality. Subaru instantly confirms his destiny. The Trial of Thunder. Retreating now would absolutely shame his warrior pride. In a blinding flash, his solitary figure violently vanishes from the second floor. Back in the bustling guild building, spectators watch this epic scene unfold. Everyone instantly erupts with excitement. He just slaughtered the boss, and still dares pick the Trial of Thunder. Wika immediately pressures the stunned supervisor. Have you ever seen any rookie hit 60 viewers on their very first day? Most barely trigger 2 tasks, but he violently unlocked 13. Do you not see the mark of an absolute genius? The sweating supervisor has no choice but to silently agree. Crushing the undefeated wolf warrior is already a mind-blowing legendary feat. Yet, the supervisor still sees Subaru as just a second-floor rookie. Recklessly charging into the Thunder Trial carries massive, deadly risks. Sensing his doubt, W.A. proposes a crazy bet. If he fails to master thunder magic, My partner and I work for you free for 5 years. But if he learns it, you sign him instantly, and backing out is absolutely forbidden. Instantly, her partner kicks WA flying. You degenerate gambler, do not drag me into this mess. I barely even know him. The supervisor smirks coldly. Even if he survives the preliminaries, do you seriously believe he has a chance? Until now, the sole hunter to ever master thunder magic is Subaru himself. Provocation can perfectly force his hand. Just say it. Do you dare bet? Naturally, with a 99% win rate, the supervisor dares. Why would he ever refuse? The true victim is the partner, whose mouth WA forcefully covers, blindly gambling 5 years of his salary away. Right then, the thunder judgment commences. Subaru's silhouette instantly teleports onto a brutal, devastated battlefield. Before he can scan the deadly environment, desperate human voices suddenly explode into his ears. Turning around, a burly man frantically tackles Subaru straight into the dirt. Instantly, a massive, deafening explosion erupts right behind them. Glancing upward, Subaru faces a horrifyingly colossal, white-skinned bald giant. The man beside him roars violently. Why are you just standing there? Want to tragically die? Suddenly, Subaru receives his system task. Please eliminate the Titan fragment. He is utterly baffled. Why would this terrifying monstrosity randomly spawn here? Simultaneously, the towering giant hoists its massive hammer, swinging it viciously downward to crush his soul. Still, in pure shock, Subaru reacts half a heartbeat late. The entire livestream erupts in total chaos. What is happening? Is this not the Thunder trial? That beast belongs in the Titan chapter. Subaru feels equally stunned. Boss-tier monsters are only meant to manifest during the trial's brutal second half. So why does one spawn on floor 2? But the monstrous giant cares nothing for his utter confusion. Its devastating weapon smashes downward, but the very instant it strikes, Subaru vanishes like a ghost. Judging by that strike's rhythm, it feels significantly weaker than remembered. If this monstrosity remains at this level, Subaru confidently knows he can slaughter it. The man behind him keeps screaming to run. I did not just save you so you could tragically die here. Subaru calmly unsheathes his waist blade. He needs to end this slaughter quickly, avoiding any annoying dead weight. Instantly, the unnamed demonic blade hungrily begins devouring his raw stamina. It exponentially boosts all attributes per drop consumed, while the Wedge of Greed ruthlessly suppresses the demonic sword's deadly backlash. A second later, the boss closes the distance perfectly, meeting Subaru's already fully charged, devastating attack. His silhouette flashes, shooting forward and pushing his extreme speed past its absolute limits. The white giant freezes. It never expects Subaru to leap so terrifyingly high. Landing perfectly behind it, Subaru ruthlessly grips its giant head. His blade stabs violently into its nape. Striking that fatal weak point instantly deals devastating double damage. Exactly as calculated, a single, flawless strike pierces cleanly through the white giant's massive throat. Your annoying shouting is way too noisy. I prefer absolute silence. Flicking his wrist, dark blood sprays outward. Hopefully, you stay completely silent forever. Suddenly exerting immense force, he violently drags the dying giant downward. The white giant's fading consciousness blurs completely. It is the undeniable mark of impending death. It violently crashes down with a thunderous shockwave. Subaru instantly slaughters the so-called white giant with one legendary strike. This breathtaking scene completely stuns the bystander and the buzzing livestream. This guy is an absolute freak of nature. Upon confirming the kill, the system announces, Titan fragment annihilated. Stage 4 officially cleared. The livestream explodes in pure, chaotic confusion. This is barely Stage 4. Instantly, Subaru levels up. Strength and agility each surge by 2 points, while his health and mana skyrocket dramatically. His achievement points nearly hit 400. That giant is incredibly lucrative. He also claims a giant's heart and thunder armor. The big guy beside him drops his trembling jaw, while the stunned livestream absolutely explodes in hype. The system generously dumps all the stage rewards at once. Is it always this giving? The big man eagerly approaches. You actually butchered the white giant? Seeing his utterly dumbfounded expression, the chaotic chat bursts into pure laughter. If you natives faced it, you would pee yourselves. Subaru calmly nods. Killing it is incredibly easy. I am your savior. Specially dispatched to exterminate giants. The chat howls with laughter. That sounds exactly like serious Chunibyo nonsense. But lurking ahead, the massive warrior escorts Subaru back to the settlement for a breather. The village is small, but a fragile peace lingers over it for now. At least the white monsters hold their assault. Subaru claims a random spot to rest and immediately pulls up his system storage interface. The livestream viewers explode with unbearable curiosity. They frantically spam the chat, begging him to crack open the storage and reveal his epic loot. Curiosity burning within him, Subaru dives into the glowing interface. A system prompt chimes giant heart accessory, ×1. Successfully obtained. The item massively boosts health points and recovery stats. It takes the flawless form of an exquisitely crafted ring. Accessories are insanely rare to begin with. Finding one with such a god-tier vitality boost is absolute perfection. But what Subaru craves most is that armor. Its hidden stats are simply too crucial. Beyond granting defense +5, it unlocks Thunderstrike and provides immunity to all status ailments. However, it holds only 3 charges. The chat instantly freezes in pure shock. Thunder armor actually drops. Plus, that giant heart is a permanent artifact with such astronomical value that he could realistically set any price tag he desires. In the next heartbeat, Subaru equips the thunder armor, and his entire aura shifts drastically. Suddenly, a viewer drops a task in the chat. If you master lightning, I will pay 5,000 credit points. Thank you for the massive support, ma'am. May your days always be smooth. Another follows up, I will add another 5,000. As long as you obtain thunder magic. Instantly, a third person raises the stakes. I will add 3,000 more, same condition. Most insanely, one woman directly throws out a 7,000 credit point task. Subaru instinctively straightens his posture. Thank you all for the tremendous support. I vow to obtain the thunder ability, and I hope you continue supporting my journey forward. It seems no matter the era, things remain exactly the same. There are always masses waiting for thunder to emerge again. That is completely normal. Thunder magic was once a legendary art wielded solely by Subaru. If he masters it now, that alone guarantees he will absolutely dominate the streaming world. A heavy knock echoes from his door. His visitors are a striking blonde man and a rugged, scar-faced man. The scar-faced man speaks first. Sorry to keep you waiting. This is Sir Pellis, captain of the village night order. Subaru steps outside with them, quickly grasping the grim reality surrounding the terrifying white giants. The monstrous assaults are escalating rapidly. Several neighboring settlements have already been pushed far beyond their absolute breaking point. Thus, the night order remains on maximum standby, keeping a 24-hour alert. To shield the innocent, they have strictly ordered all villagers to cease unnecessary movements. Pellis flashes a smile. In such a nerve-wracking crisis, crossing paths with an outsider as absurdly strong as Subaru is a miracle. He speaks solemnly. I heard you protected this village while I was away. Please let me thank you for everyone. Subaru insists there is no need to be so polite. I merely did what anyone would do. Subaru knows of Pellis well. He is the living symbol of hope, a brave knight who faces towering giants head-on. Pellis reveals that during a crucial scouting mission, their unit uncovered the giant leader. Now, they vow to settle this feud forever. Both men bow deeply, pleading for Subaru to lend his strength, even if it means their own deaths. Truthfully, such desperate pleas are unnecessary. Subaru must obliterate these giants anyway to clear his brutal system mission. The chat spams wildly, Pellis, do not die. He is a rare good soul. Let us hope Subaru saves him. Naturally, Subaru sees every comment. They are dropping heavy spoilers because this tragic story has already been written. If Subaru remembers perfectly, the heroic Pellis is destined to perish in this exact upcoming stage. Subaru slowly extends his hand, a gesture leaving Pellis stunned with joy. Raise your head, Subaru tells him. I will help you. Let us make a promise. Until every giant falls, nobody dies. Pellis thanks him endlessly. With your power joining us, the plan will definitely succeed. System prompt. Stage 5 begins. Mission name, Survival. Very soon, their large force marches out. By a quick estimate, the strike party boasts close to 100 warriors. But right now, Subaru keeps his gaze glued to the live stream. Initially, he could track the comments, but as the massive viewer count skyrockets, the chaotic chat transforms into a blurred, runaway scroll wheel, completely severing any chance of normal communication. Suddenly, Pellis raises his hand, signaling the entire team to freeze. The scar-faced man points at the giant ahead. That beast has been prowling here all day, acting completely unfazed about us noticing its massive presence. The towering monstrosity before them is the giant leader. One glance at its size screams devastation. Pellis begins assigning roles. He plans to draw its deadly aggro while Subaru flanks for a fatal sneak attack. But Subaru immediately grips his shoulder, sternly commanding him to halt. Subaru warns Pellis to stay alert. Something is wrong. This feels like a trap. That leader standing before them is obvious bait. There are absolutely not just 10 giants lurking nearby. The second his words fall, violent tremors shake the earth. Panic hijacks their faces. They are completely surrounded. Subaru instantly understands the grim reality. That leading monster up ahead? It is just bait for a deadly trap. Suddenly, the monstrous leader snaps its massive eyes wide open. Its giant, blood-chilling pupils lock dead onto their prey. Right after, towering giants erupt from the crushed earth beside it. Reaching the leader has been an impossible dream from the start. The instant anyone dares to step close, the monstrous horde strikes. Their overwhelming numbers make head-on combat pure suicide. As he watches the swarm, all color drains from Pellis's face. He thought he had found a golden opportunity. Instead, he has just marched his entire crew straight into hell. The white giants instantly unleash a one-sided massacre upon the soldiers. A few fight back, but crippling terror devours most of their courage. The soldier who was just screaming orders. A white beast rips him apart alive in a shower of blood. That gruesome sight shatters their remaining hope. The Titan flashes a twisted grin. You pathetic humans actually think you can ambush us? How pathetic. Pellis roars. Everyone fall back to the mountain base. The squad instantly scatters in a desperate frenzy for survival. Staying alive is their only thought. Above them, the beasts roar at the heavens. They are thrilled to finally torture human prey again. Within moments, the retreating squad suffers even more devastating losses. One man tries sprinting back for a fallen friend, but two others desperately restrain him. You need to calm down. If we do not run right now, we are dead. In just that split second, the giant horrors have already closed the distance. Pellis screams out, "All of you run, we will hold them off. That is an order, full retreat." He begs them to remember their families waiting back home. "This is not our end. We will regroup and strike back." His powerful words spark a tiny bit of reason, sending them scrambling down the slope. Soon, only Pellis and the scarred fighter remain. Yet Pellis desperately orders the scarred warrior to flee. The surviving squad will still need his strength in the future. Suddenly, Subaru slowly steps up beside them. Pellis completely freezes. He screams out, "Brother, you need to run too. Fall back, rally the forces, and fight these monsters later. I will hold them." But Subaru calmly unsheathes his blade. "That hero speech belongs to me. You and Scarface run. Leave this battlefield to me." Subaru steps forward. "I am done talking. So why are you guys still standing here?" Pellis is completely stunned. Subaru simply lays out the brutal truth. "If you stay, I cannot unleash my full power. You are just dead weight. Stay, and we all die right here." Bound by deep honor, Pellis refuses to abandon a stranger. Subaru's voice drops to a bone-chilling tone. "Do not make me repeat myself. Staying will only drag me to my grave." Finally, Pellis grits his teeth and sprints away. "I will gather the survivors. You must survive until I return." A fierce grin forms. That is exactly what Subaru wants. With Pellis gone, the squad escapes their fated doom, and Subaru can finally unleash his true power without holding back. Sprinting away, Pellis constantly glances back. "Brother, I owe you my life. Just hold on. I will definitely return to save you." Meanwhile, the Titan horde charges forward. Brilliant streaks of golden energy surge across their massive, terrifying bodies. Subaru dashes straight into the swarm, igniting two ultimate skills at once. Just as a beast nears Pellis, Subaru explodes with speed. "Your opponent is me. Without my permission, you are not allowed to leave." In a flash of steel, he completely severs the monster's leg, ensuring it will never take another step forward. Subaru begins crippling their movement, slicing through the front line's legs one after another. The terrifying swarm's advance is brutally crushed by him alone. The arrogant white beasts never imagine one tiny human can inflict such devastating damage. In the blink of an eye, he slaughters two giants and claims 20 achievement points. Even though this is just a system trial, the strange feeling of fighting completely solo still feels unnatural to him. Memories of flawless tactical teamwork flash through his mind. Meanwhile, Pellis sprints like a madman back toward the village, desperate to rally reinforcements. As he runs, he suddenly freezes. There is absolutely no one chasing him. Is Subaru really holding back that entire monstrous army completely alone? Fierce guilt roars in his chest as he grits his teeth and sprints faster. He has to drag his men back to rescue Subaru immediately. Or at the absolute minimum, help him survive until backup arrives. But what Pellis does not realize is the mind-blowing truth. It looks like a desperate siege, but in reality, Subaru alone surrounds the entire army. The chat section thinks Subaru is completely insane. No one has ever witnessed such a suicidal battle style before. Furthermore, the weak forces from Pellis's village will never arrive in time to save him. But right now, looking past Subaru, even Pellis and his battered soldiers, those fated to die might just survive under Subaru's sheer will. Suddenly, two massive white giants launch devastating punches right at him. Subaru drops into a lethal stance. As the massive fists crash down, he pivots sharply, slicing a brutal arc across the first giant's chest. Without missing a single beat, he lunges sideways and cleanly severs the second monster's leg. To control this chaotic battlefield, he must cripple their movements first. With his current devastating power, one-shotting these beasts is painfully easy. The real nightmare? How much longer can his cursed blade hold out? His ultimate target is the Alpha. This brutal deathmatch only ends when the leader's head finally rolls. Subaru vaults onto a giant's massive shoulder, his sharp eyes scanning the bloodbath for the Alpha. With a flick of his wrist, he splits the beast's skull wide open, scoring another 10 points. His speed explodes. There is zero time left to waste on these pathetic trash mobs. He must hunt down the elusive alpha before it is too late. Suddenly, a cunning giant snaps its terrifying jaws wide, expecting Subaru to fall right in. Instead, it catches Subaru's heavy boot, smashing directly into its ugly face. Subaru mercilessly vaults off the giant's faces, chaining mid-air leaps to stay out of reach. His fearless, death-defying aerial dance leaves every single viewer in the live chat gasping for air. This guy is an absolute savage. One slip means instant death, but aerial dominance is Subaru's ultimate signature. Suddenly, a system prompt flashes. The Wedge of Greed is actively resisting the terrifying backlash of the unnamed demonic blade. Health and mental energy are rapidly restoring. Subaru's eyes light up. His stamina drain remains brutal, but the fierce recovery rate is finally keeping pace. Top-tier gear truly dictates the battlefield. He is not done yet. He must slaughter the alpha before his body breaks down. Through the chaos, Subaru finally locks onto his target. Just a few more steps, and the kill is his. But suddenly, a sinister, blood-chilling smirk twists across the alpha's face. That wicked grin makes Subaru's blood run cold. Without warning, the Titan unleashes a devastating counterattack. If he fails to end this in one strike, Subaru is a dead man. The monster's fatal blow reaches max charge. One clean hit from that monstrous weapon will instantly grind Subaru into absolute bloody paste. A rare flicker of dread hits him, but he ruthlessly crushes the panic. It has to work. Without a single trace of hesitation, he snaps his fingers. System prompt. One charge of thunder magic release has been successfully triggered. Blinding golden arcs of electricity surge across his skin. With only one shot left, he lets the thunder roar. Instantly, an overwhelming storm of violent lightning violently erupts from Subaru's core. The searing flash blinds the white giants, while the apocalyptic thunderclaps threaten to completely shatter their eardrums. The agonizing noise drives the alpha completely insane. It roars in pure rage at the damned human. But Subaru is already soaring directly above its head. Holding nothing back, he lets the unnamed demonic blade ruthlessly devour his stamina, pushing its dark power to the absolute limit. He forcefully converts every last drop of his fading life energy into raw power, funneling it all straight into the sword's edge. With a sickening tear of flesh, his devastating slash cripples the alpha. The monster's massive life force instantly plummets. Just 2 more strikes to end it all. The arrogant alpha never imagined it would fall to a frail, insignificant human. Subaru seizes the fatal opening, driving his blade deep 3 rapid times. With an earth-shattering thud, the giant leader crashes down. System prompt. Stage 5 survival mode cleared. Extraordinary achievement successfully unlocked. Subaru levels up, his strength and agility surging. Vitality +2, mana +1. The entire live chat erupts into absolute chaos. The viewers are witnessing history as someone completely clears this impossible floor. If he had not streamed this legendary run, they would have never witnessed such raw power. Yet, a deep sense of dread washes over the crowd. This victory feels terrifyingly wrong. Subaru just slaughtered a nightmare that was supposed to be completely unkillable. If this were a comic, the hero would strike an epic victory pose right now. But reality is far more brutal. The sky crackles with ordinary storm lightning, fading fast. Below, the surviving white giants violently shake off their stunning paralysis. A terrifying counterattack is coming. Subaru slowly lowers his gaze, staring grimly at the cursed demonic blade gripped in his trembling hand. The Wedge of Greed failed to fully contain the agonizing, soul-draining backlash of the unnamed demonic blade. He leaps off the fallen titan's skull. If there is no way out, he will just have to keep slaughtering. Clearing the stage means absolutely nothing. These relentless monsters will not vanish until the hellish trial is officially over. He exploited this brutal mechanic before, but he never expected the devastating consequences to crash down on him so hard. Dark blood steadily drips from his mouth. His inner strength is running bone dry, but in the shadows, the real nightmare is just beginning. The pale behemoths see right through his exhaustion. Twisted, mocking grins stretch across their monstrous faces. But the heavens have another plan. The gloomy sky suddenly erupts with massive, deafening thunderbolts. In a flash, every single strike surges toward one exact location. Subaru feels a terrifying surge of energy overflowing in his veins. Every jagged bolt crashes directly into him. Right now, he looks exactly like a descending god of thunder. Even just standing completely still, the explosive pressure radiating from him rivals the absolute peak of his ultimate skill consumption. While Subaru fights a life-or-death battle against the towering white giants, miles away in a hidden forest cabin, a woman sits by the door, glaring intensely at a live stream. Her expression is pitch black. Just another pathetic rookie trying to cash in on Subaru's legendary name. Suddenly, Shu steps out of the cabin. A deep look of confusion crosses his face. He asks why she is sitting outside. The woman replies with a perfectly flat tone. She claims the sunlight is nice, and she is just enjoying her free time. Shu lowers his voice to a serious whisper, demanding that all of this must end. The woman agrees, giving it 1 year at most. Fury instantly blazes in Shu's eyes. He demands to know what she means by a year, and what exactly she is plotting. He snaps at her for always deflecting when things get deadly serious. The more he thinks about her words, the more twisted the situation feels. He storms over to her side to see exactly what has captured her attention. The woman casually explains she is watching some arrogant new streamer calling himself Subaru. Hearing that sacred name, Shu's heart violently jolts in his chest. The woman quickly warns him not to get his hopes up about their boss returning. This is obviously a total fake. It is just some random clout chaser borrowing Subaru's legendary identity to survive a trial. She coldly points out the cruel reality. If the real Subaru had actually survived that apocalyptic crisis, then Suki would have vanished a long time ago. How could a man like him stay hidden in the shadows for years? Whether she wants to admit the bitter truth or not, she simply has to. Subaru is most likely dead. She demands to know when Shu will finally accept that tragic fact. Shu sharply turns his back, refusing to hear another word. He orders her to drop the subject permanently. Deep in his soul, he absolutely refuses to believe their hero has fallen. Suppressing her own blazing frustration, the woman shouts at his retreating back. She asks how much longer he plans to hide inside that kid's fading shadow. It is time to finally move on. Shu whips around and fires right back at her. He violently snatches the phone from her hand, asking if she has truly let go. If she had truly moved on, she would not be obsessively checking Subaru-related streams every single day. He shoves the glowing screen in her face. She weakly tries to claim she is just passing the time. But a split second later, her entire body freezes solid. She whispers that it is absolutely impossible, finally glancing at the screen. Shu mocks her stream obsession, demanding to see who this faker is. With a single, dismissive glance, his jaw nearly drops straight to the floor. A second legendary Subaru has actually appeared. Meanwhile, back in the trial, ancient thunder arts violently surge out of Subaru's core. Not a single white giant can even step into his devastating domain. Even worse for the monsters. The blazing electric arcs mercilessly scorch their massive bodies into blackened ash. Slowly, the chaotic lightning bends to Subaru's sheer will. He has achieved absolute mastery over the thunder element. The chat room explodes into pure, unhinged chaos. Viewers scream that a second legendary Subaru is being born today. The terrifying realization finally hits them. To steal this divine skill, he must slaughter the Titan leader. Skimming the wild theories in the chat, a sharp, wary glint flashes in Subaru's intense eyes. This dangerous secret should never have been revealed here. Suddenly, a glowing blue system panel forces its way into his vision. The lightning skill demands both health and mana to activate. The system states the ability can evolve by gathering extremely rare thunder fragments. But honestly, for Subaru, merely surviving this absolute nightmare is already a miracle. Plus, the trial's sudden interruption could not have happened at a more perfect moment. 2 glorious chimes ring out in his head. The system displays twin golden notifications. He just bagged 5,000, then another 7,000 credit points. These massive rewards are all tips from his jaw-dropped viewers for clearing impossible tasks. In a flash, his personal fortune shatters the 20,000-point milestone. He knows standard streamer etiquette demands a flashy thank you performance for big tips. With a smirk, he decides to keep this bloody trial rolling. Ahead of him, the endless horde of pale titans surges forward like a catastrophic tidal wave. Subaru's icy gaze hardens into indestructible steel. Today, he will finally unleash that terrifying hidden power upon the world. Without hesitating, he burns all 20,000 points to instantly level up the Wedge of Greed. The very second the upgrade finishes, a cosmic shift happens in his core. The deadly skill backlash violently reverses, twisting into an overpowering divine buff. He craves for this intoxicating energy to completely swallow him whole. In a single breath, he compresses every last spark of roaring lightning directly into his right hand. He easily could have walked away right now, but just this once, he wants to taste the thrill of absolute destruction. Subaru takes a bold step forward. He faces the towering nightmare horde head-on, completely erasing the word retreat from his dictionary. The brainless titans flash smug, greedy smiles. Little do they know, the countdown to their absolute slaughter has already begun. Subaru ruthlessly forces the raging lightning straight into his blade. A final, chilling system prompt appears. Raging lightning has successfully fused with the unnamed demonic blade. Subaru laughs out loud. Perfect timing. Let's see if you can survive this strike. As his blade descends, a piercing scarlet aura erupts forward. That single, devastating sweep cleaves every frontline giant perfectly in half. They do not even have time to raise their guards. Yet the scarlet energy does not stop. The deadly wave keeps surging forward. Sword aura cannot change direction, but this massive horizontal slash leaves the towering monsters absolutely nowhere to run. 10 seconds later, the crimson glow fading around him, Subaru curses under his breath. Damn it. That explosive strike just drained every last drop of his stamina. He should have saved some energy for a retreat. Now, his legs feel like lead, and he cannot even take a single step. Thankfully, that apocalyptic strike turned every single giant into a lifeless corpse. Subaru stabs his longsword fiercely into the cracked earth, barely using the hilt to keep himself from collapsing onto his knees. Suddenly, shifting shadows appear right behind him. The scar-faced warrior and his crew have actually returned to the battlefield. They actually kept their promise. These warriors march straight back to save his life. Seeing the absolute carnage, Pellis freezes in pure disbelief. Snapping back to reality, he rushes to Subaru's side. Benefactor, are you hurt? Hearing the familiar voice, Subaru turns his head. Thank God, you actually came back. As the words leave his lips, his vision violently spins. The world blurs around him as darkness pulls at his consciousness. Seriously, Pellis is such a total idiot. He actually came back. If I had not slaughtered these monsters, wouldn't they have marched to their deaths? Meanwhile, deep inside the guild headquarters, two managers stare nervously at Wa. Watching Subaru clear the impossible stage, Wa slumps onto the sofa, burying her face in her trembling hands. Her partner asks, is he really worth all this effort? Do not ask me, I will never understand women. Wa's shoulders shake slightly as she whispers, it is completely over. I think I am in love. Years ago, when she was just a young girl, she had felt this exact same heart-racing spark. Remembering the direct message she just sent, Subaru, panic sets in. Was her tone way too cold? Did she sound too strictly professional? Should she have added a sweet emoji so he might actually reply back? Her partner stares, totally speechless. That message was strictly official business. Do you actually have a massive crush on this guy? Just spit it out, the boss sighs, equally dumbfounded. You kept aggressively insisting we recruit him into our guild. Do not tell me you just wanted to date him. Wa's face burns beet red. I cannot control my heart. Before I became a manager, I was already his absolute biggest fan. I promised you all that signing him would bring us infinite glory. I swear on it. Think carefully. The divine thunder power that only Subaru could control is now entirely his. He might truly be the next Subaru. Her partner simply shrugs, not caring about any of that legendary hype. As long as his own paycheck remains safe, he is perfectly happy. The boss nods in deep satisfaction. No wonder no one else mastered it. We must watch him closely. Suddenly, her partner's phone chimes out loud, and Wa's racing heart leaps. Did Subaru finally reply? Yes. The notification pops up. Subaru actually read the message, but a second later, Wa's entire body violently freezes over. Left on red, Wa turns to stone, her lungs forgetting how to breathe. He actually died standing up, someone notes. First time seeing this. Should we buy her a coffin? Probably not. Meanwhile, inside an esports studio, a legendary player famous for analyzing hardcore hunter combat starts his live broadcast. He built his massive empire by destroying countless rivals with lethal insight and brutal commentary. His name is Hawkeyes. Hawkeyes has brutally broken down footage of countless elite competitors. This includes Amon, a terrifying dark horse who blitzed through the tower, earning the title of the second Subaru. Even Itsuki from the legendary Blue Eyes faced his ruthless critique. Now he fights as Earth's supreme representative, so the crushing weight on his shoulders must be unimaginable. Today, we will ruthlessly break down his combat skills. And obviously, the era-transcending legend, Subaru, will not be skipped. No matter what anyone claims, lightning strictly belongs to that man. When you think of an unstoppable god that no hunter can ever reach, who instantly comes to mind? Right now, the only name dominating everyone's thoughts is Subaru. Today, Hawkeyes prepares his signature lock-on skill to viciously analyze the most viral rookie breaking the internet, Subaru. A skeptic in the live chat mocks him, asking if he is just milking hype since the rookie barely reached floor 2, but Hawkeyes fiercely claps back. He argues beginners deserve a fair shot, and haters should not instantly crush them with toxic reviews. Being a top streamer is exhausting. He violently clicks onto Subaru's profile, loads the chaotic combat footage, and gasps, "This is absolute insanity. What in the world am I looking at?" After analyzing the raw footage, cold sweat violently pours down his forehead. That godlike concentration is truly terrifying. He literally just acquired this skill, yet his overwhelming mastery is already at this monstrous level. His movements completely transcend human limits. What's even more terrifying is Subaru's absolute mana control, injecting the exact amount of energy required, never wasting a single drop of power. Achieving this requires god-tier micro-control and razor-sharp judgment. Throughout the entire bloodbath, he hasn't made a single mistake. In the end, Hawkeye delivers his absolute verdict. This rookie is destined for greatness. From this moment on, he has my undivided attention. The world eagerly awaits this rookie's awakening. Once he breaches the 10th floor, he might even forge his own elite guild. Yet, among all the viewers watching the broadcast, less than 10 people actually comprehend the sheer brilliance of that battle. Suddenly, a bold comment catches Hawkeye's eye. No final review this time? He almost forgot his own trademark. Whenever evaluating hunters, he always delivers a final verdict to predict their absolute peak. But this time, judging by the monstrous microcontrol displayed so far, he delivers a completely unprecedented conclusion. This rookie has already surpassed Subaru at his absolute peak. Meanwhile, Subaru's eyes snap open from the abyss of unconsciousness. He bolts upright, completely shocked that his exhausted body actually succumbed to such a deep slumber. Thankfully, the blue system window chimes. Stage 6 has commenced. All fatigue has been fully restored. Pausing the trial. Pausing a trial demands two absolute conditions. First, the previous stage must be conquered before the next nightmare even begins. Second, the challenger's fatigue must be fully restored. Subaru casually boots up his broadcast on his phone, completely stunned to see the viewer count has already skyrocketed past 700. He has no clue when his audience exploded like this. Staring into the lens, Subaru casually announces, "My bad, everyone. I need a full day off. Catch you all for the next broadcast the day after tomorrow." Instantly, a cold system prompt hits the massive audience. Subaru has ended the broadcast. A column of ethereal blue light engulfs him, wiping his presence from the stage. When his vision clears, he stands within an endless, blindingly white expanse. This is the legendary Judgment Waiting Room. Directly in front of him, a massive, silent door waits to be opened. But Subaru doesn't rush forward. Instead, he checks his private inbox and discovers an exclusive partnership invitation from a massive broadcasting guild. Subaru slowly peels off his mask, assuming it's just worthless spam. But a split second later, his entire body freezes. The seal belongs to the absolute biggest entertainment empire. Exactly 2 hours later, Subaru pushes open the doors to a high-end cafe. He casually claims an empty corner booth, immediately diving deep into the massive corporation's hidden background files. They are an entertainment titan, ruthless executives pouring endless wealth into artificially skyrocketing streamers' power. He never imagined the awakened world would devolve into this. To think an organization this absurdly massive actually exists in the shadows. Suddenly, an explosive notification hijacks his screen. The forums are absolutely chaotic. The legendary analyst Hawkeye has locked onto his newest prey, the rookie, Subaru. The viral rumor? This rookie's mana control has completely shattered the original Legend's peak. Looks like Hawkeye is tangled up with Azure Sky too. That brutal critic has always possessed a razor-sharp tongue, never pulling his punches. Yet from Subaru's perspective, Hawkeye's terrifying intuition is the real deal. The analyst managed to lock onto his true potential from just a single glance. Right then, heavy footsteps echo through the cafe. The newcomer had also seen Hawkeye's trending review and feels completely enraged. He mutters vicious curses under his breath, furious about Hawkeye's bold comparison. In terms of pure control alone, he might already outclass Subaru at his peak. That exact sentence makes the man boil with pure, uncontrollable rage. Give me a freaking break. He's just trash who barely scraped onto the second floor. Reading that viral verdict leaves him completely disgusted, convinced that the great Hawkeye has officially gone blind. The moment he conquers the second floor, he swears he'll rip Hawkeye's useless eyes straight out. Spitefully, he hurls a disgusting glob of phlegm onto the polished floor. As if this miserable day hasn't been a complete disaster already. But stepping further inside, his terrible luck hits rock bottom. His eyes lock onto a very familiar face. Currently, Subaru remains blissfully unaware of the approaching threat. And honestly, even if he noticed, he wouldn't care in the slightest. But this thug feels absolutely cursed. Bumping into Subaru everywhere, opening his phone only to see Subaru's name trending his volcanic anger, is literally reaching a boiling point. The longer he glares at the oblivious Subaru, the deeper his malicious urge grows. He desperately needs a living punching bag to vent his frustration. Spotting an empty chair right beside his target, he aggressively marches over. This arrogant thug has absolutely zero intentions of playing nice. With a vicious elbow shove, he deliberately splashes scalding coffee onto Subaru. Subaru instantly shoots up. "What's your problem? Are you completely blind?" His icy gaze narrows, finally recognizing the hostile attacker. It's Isaac. The pest is begging for another beatdown, but Subaru doesn't have the patience for trash right now. "Well, if it isn't adorable, Subaru. I just keep running into you lately. Looks like this pathetic floor is way too small." Subaru shoots him a single freezing glare, then silently goes back to his phone, fully prepared to walk away. As Subaru turns his back, Isaac sneers with dripping venom. "Aw, want me to buy you a brand new cup? You're always dead broke anyway, so you should be kissing my feet, right?" Subaru treats him like absolute invisible garbage. Fury instantly blazes in Isaac's eyes. To him, Subaru is just a worthless nobody. Yet this trash dares to look down on him? As Subaru reaches the door, Isaac barks out an order. Did I say you could leave? Subaru slowly turns, his gaze locking onto him. Do you need something else? If not, do not waste my time. That single sentence absolutely ignites Isaac's rage, and he violently grabs Subaru's collar. Do not get too cocky. Wipe that smug look right off your face. Otherwise, I will beat you until your teeth scatter across the floor. Just like I crushed you before. Subaru simply mutters, sorry. Simultaneously, he clamps a hand around Isaac's wrist. With one casual flex, he brutally flings the man's grip away. I have no time to play. If you want trouble, find someone else. Isaac's heart violently jolts. Has this loser's grip always been this absurdly terrifying? His fingers are visibly trembling from the sheer crushing force. Subaru completely ignores the stunned man and turns to leave. As for hurting your hand just now, consider that compensation for my spilled coffee. That parting shot twists Isaac's face into pure wrath. When did you get so damn arrogant? Get back here. The only reply he receives is the cold thud of the closing door. Isaac exhales a long, heavy breath. He originally wanted to climb the tower quietly this time. But now, his blood is absolutely boiling. Looks like if I do not beat the hell out of you, you will forget who I am. Not just you, but that new streamer too. You two Subarus are seriously going to piss me off. Meanwhile, stepping out of the cafe, Subaru suddenly remembers a crucial detail. He still has not replied to that massive entertainment company. Realizing this, he immediately pulls out his device to message the guild. We will be meeting very soon. Shortly after, Subaru ventures deep into the dungeon, arriving at the exiled lizard boss's hidden chamber. His wedge of greed fiercely resists the dark backlash of his unnamed demonic blade, yet his physical body is slowly adapting to that devastating impact. Suddenly, a tiny flicker of flame materializes directly above his head. The flame violently swells into a massive inferno. It is the exiled lizard boss itself. Other seasoned hunters call this nightmare the demon lizard. The monstrous demon lizard stares greedily. It acts like it just smelled a legendary feast, toxic saliva dripping endlessly from its jagged jaws, to avoid a disastrous accident like last time. Once he truly masters his lightning abilities, he needs to run a live test. This exiled lizard makes the perfect trial target. Facing the beast, Subaru decides to unleash 90% of his power to see if he can kill it in one blow. In the very next second, his feet burst with explosive force. Crackling golden lightning wildly erupts directly beneath his boots. Launching himself upward, he meets the raging demon lizard head-on. For a powerhouse like Subaru, slaughtering this beast is barely a challenge. He has slaughtered this exact type of monster countless times before. The demon lizard unhinges its massive jaws, highly concentrated fire magic gathering inside. Instantly, a massive, scorching fireball blasts straight toward his face. Yet, there is not the slightest hint of retreat in Subaru's icy eyes. He forces raw lightning power into his blade, turning every slash absolutely lethal. System prompt. Lightning is infused into the unnamed demonic blade. In the next second, Subaru cleanly cleaves apart the beast's raging fire attack with a single strike. System prompt. Wedge of Greed is actively resisting the lightning backlash. Resistance has failed. Skill level is rapidly rising. At this exact moment, Subaru has already positioned himself directly above the terrifying demon lizard. He channels every ounce of his bodily power straight into his striking arm. This hit will be fatal. In a blinding flash, a lightning slash cleanly splits the demon lizard into two perfect halves. After successfully executing the exiled lizard boss, his level and core attributes rapidly soar, his mana fully recovering. Just as he finishes gathering the precious loot to leave, a shadowy figure suddenly blocks his path. Subaru's eyes instantly turn freezing cold. This mysterious person radiates thick, unmistakable killing intent. The man steps out of the shadows, stopping right in front of him. So late, and you are still lurking around here, planning to hunt? The arrogant fool blocking Subaru's path is Isaac. Subaru realizes this pest is stubborn to a frightening degree. He actually tracked him all the way into a dungeon just to start trouble. Isaac originally wondered if he should just let it go, but the more he thought about the disrespect, the more suffocated with anger he felt. In the end, he hunted Subaru down. Isaac glares dangerously. How about we settle this today? Subaru inwardly sneers. Settle it? How exactly do you plan to settle anything? Meanwhile, completely unaware of this deadly standoff, Hawkeye slowly strolls into a quiet shop. The moment he enters, a man raises his hand to signal him over. It is the powerful guild president himself. Hawkeye is summoned here precisely to get a clear reading on Subaru. Hawkeye chuckles. Long time no see. How are your stream numbers looking lately? Hawkeye casually admits things have been perfectly average recently. Almost all his current viewers are familiar old faces, meaning his total numbers have barely moved. The president takes a slow, calculating sip of his hot tea. In truth, that is the most stable state to be in. Stable foundations do not crumble easily. Hawkeye impatiently urges him to get straight to the point. He is extremely busy, not here to sip afternoon tea with the guild president. The president drops the act and asks directly, "That rookie Subaru you commented on yesterday. Were you completely serious about all that?" Hawkeye's blinked in surprise. "You came to ask about that rookie? Then I will say exactly what I said before. Based on raw talent alone, he is stronger than Subaru at his absolute peak, but whether he can reach that legendary height? That is a mystery. You understand what I am implying, right?" The president nodded slowly. "It seems we truly need to drag him into our streaming guild." The second those words dropped, even Hawkeye's flinched in absolute shock. Boss truly has a terrifying eye for talent. If you ask me, poach him before he blows up. Let him name his own price. The president fully agreed. Hearing Hawkeye's frame it like that, he could no longer keep his composure. The president already had his first move planned. Once Subaru joined, he would force a massive collaboration with Hawkeye's. Only by skyrocketing his fame could the guild harvest an ocean of profits. Meanwhile, deep inside the forest, Isaac roared with pure malice. "It is just the two of us now. Do not even dream of escaping." Subaru simply nodded. "Yes, just the two of us. So, what exactly is your goal here?" Isaac wanted to make his purpose brutally clear. He came to shatter that arrogant, uncontrollable look on Subaru's face. He stepped closer, flashing a sinister sneer. "A pathetic rat who climbed this far on sheer luck. Do not tell me you actually believe you are the real Subaru. You want to master lightning like that streamer?" He clenched his fingers tight, cursing through gritted teeth. "That absolute bastard, Subaru. If he is dead, he should stay in his grave and rot. Fakes like you completely disgust me." Subaru genuinely could not understand why this guy hated his name with such burning passion. Ironically, Subaru never imagined this reality, an entire era infested with cheap copies of himself. Breaking the silence, Subaru finally spoke. "Let me ask you something. Why the intense hatred? Is it just because my name is Subaru? If it is only a name, why let it consume you? Clearly, the world loves that name." Hearing this calm question, Isaac's arrogant expression instantly shattered. His voice dropped to a freezing chill. "Do you know who my father is? He is Reinhardt, a high-level powerhouse of the 9th floor." Hearing that specific name, Subaru's pupils shrank sharply. His heart gave a heavy thud. He knew that man all too well. Back in the past, during his climb on the 9th floor, he had directly crossed blades with Reinhardt, a legendary swordsman feared for his one-hit kill technique. But what truly shook the world was this. Subaru crushed him with a single, devastating strike. As an absolute ruler of the 9th floor, how could a warrior ever accept being destroyed in one blow? From beginning to end, the battle lasted barely 3 seconds. The moment Subaru muttered that name, Isaac completely lost his mind. "You lack the right to speak my father's name." In that exact moment, everything finally clicked for Subaru. "So, your hatred stems from that one-hit kill swordsman. But have you ever considered the truth? Do you realize the pain I endured from that? Under your relentless torment, I almost died." Blazing fireballs suddenly materialized in both of Isaac's hands. "Shut your mouth. One more word and I will burn you alive." Raging flames spread violently, completely blocking any chance of Subaru's retreat. Subaru sighed inwardly. There was zero chance of avoiding this. He could feel the chilling intent. Isaac was dead serious. He truly wanted blood. Just as expected, Isaac roared aloud. "I will bury you in an ocean of flames. This lizardman lair will become your fiery grave. I am sick to death of the name Subaru. And I despise that blue-eye squad of his. Just a bunch of garbage who perished with him." Hearing those unforgivable words, Subaru's chest tightened with dangerous intensity. Disrespecting him was one thing, but insulting his fallen comrades? Absolutely unforgivable. Yet to Isaac, the Blue Eye Squad deserved their grim fate. The twisted thought filled him with a sick exhilaration. Those fools must be suffering in some dark corner of hell. Without hesitation, he hurled a massive fireball forward. "Since you share the name Subaru, go rot in hell with him." Boom! The roaring flames surged skyward with terrifying, destructive force. Having unleashed his ultimate strike, Isaac finally exhaled heavily. He covered his face in mock regret. He had calculated wrong. He actually underestimated his own overwhelming power, completely vaporizing Subaru in one hit. But as he slowly lowered his hand, a twisted, arrogant satisfaction warped his features. "Now that you are turning to ash, I will hunt down that masked brat next." Suddenly, Subaru's chilling voice echoed through the smoke. "By mask. Do you happen to mean this one?" Deep within the swirling smoke, Subaru's unbothered figure stood tall and completely unharmed. He had finally equipped his legendary mask. He had awakened as the one true Subaru. Isaac stared in absolute, trembling disbelief. "You blocked my ultimate attack." With your bare hands? Standing before the raging inferno, Subaru looked like a true god of slaughter descending. Every survival instinct screamed at Isaac to run, the terrifying presence before him. This was absolutely not the pathetic fake he fought earlier. But the instant his focus broke, violent lightning erupted beneath Subaru's feet. In the blink of an eye, the masked legend vanished into thin air. A split second later, he materialized right in front of Isaac with godly speed. And Subaru buried a devastating punch directly into his gut. The devastating impact of that punch makes Isaac's pupils dilate in pure horror. How is he this terrifyingly strong? Taking the brutal blow, Isaac crashes heavily onto his knees. In the very next heartbeat, dark crimson blood spills from his lips. Subaru glares down at him like a sovereign. When someone ruins them, my sanity snaps. Isaac simply refuses to believe this brutal reality. How are you even here? He desperately rejects that Subaru possesses such monstrous power. In that tense moment, Subaru slowly uncovers his mask. That strike was nothing but a tiny warm-up. Just who exactly do you think is standing right in front of you? The crying Subaru you love to torment? The masked streamer? Or the blue-eyed legend? A pathetic, desperate sneer twists Isaac's bloody mouth. Save your garbage. Are you claiming to be that famous streamer? Even at death's door, his arrogant pride still looks down on Subaru. Stop spouting jokes. Lightning abilities are nothing special. If a pathetic loser like you can master it, I definitely can too. In the next split second, scorching flames silently condense within his desperate palm. You honestly think your pathetic parlor tricks can defeat me? Subaru simply finds this opponent's blind, arrogant stubbornness utterly laughable. The cold facts slap him right in the face, yet he still vehemently denies them. As Isaac rants, the blazing inferno in his palm grows terrifyingly dense. He plans to seize Subaru in a single strike and completely crush him into ash. However, fate delivers a truly unimaginable nightmare instead. In barely a heartbeat, his bloody hand rockets into the sky. Subaru's blinding lightning flash perfectly slices right through his entire arm. Seeing his stump, Isaac's blood turns completely to ice, his very soul violently trembling. Truthfully, the exact moment he dared insult Subaru's precious companions, his grisly doom was utterly sealed. The undeniable fact that Subaru silently tolerated his arrogant nonsense for this long is an act of absolute, final mercy. His panicked brain totally short-circuits, desperately failing to understand the true, hidden meaning behind Subaru's chilling, cryptic words. He mentally chews on the cryptic phrases repeatedly, eventually piecing together a totally mind-numbing, terrifying guess. This imposing figure is absolutely not the weak Subaru from the past. When exactly this pathetic loser transformed into a completely different monster, he simply cannot fathom. However, one chilling truth finally dawns upon Isaac. The legendary warrior standing menacingly before him is absolutely blue-eyed Subaru. But how is this even possible? Why would someone who rightfully perished randomly manifest inside another person's physical body? In the next split second, Subaru ruthlessly swings his lethal blade down. After silently enduring Isaac's pathetic final whimpers, he cleanly and violently ends his miserable life. Game time is officially over. After finishing the bloody execution, Subaru calmly turns his back and slowly walks right into the shadows. Sending Isaac to the afterlife today honestly counts as 5-star premium customer service. Usually, random garbage villains never receive such an intimate, personal execution. As Isaac hits the bloody dirt, Subaru whispers softly to himself, "Let this shattered life count as fair payment for borrowing this vessel." Exactly 2 hours later, inside a bustling restaurant, the entire waitstaff intensely stares at Subaru with expressions of utter, baffled disbelief. Why exactly is this guy dressed like this? He genuinely looks like a crazed Subaru fanatic. Meanwhile, our protagonist strictly holds one absolute principle. The famous streamer Subaru must never reveal his true face, and absolutely no enemy can ever discover his actual, hidden identity under the mask. This total anonymity offers a massive tactical advantage. A fleeting moment later, a nervously breathing woman steps directly into the bustling restaurant. "So sorry to keep you waiting." She fidgets with highly visible nervous energy. "I am the agent who actually contacted you. I am Wika from the Elite Streaming Guild, and hopefully your future manager." Subaru immediately stands up with polite poise. "I am the rookie streamer, Subaru." Wika practically glows with giddy happiness upon finally meeting him. She leans in to closely inspect Subaru, her inner fangirl screaming with pure excitement. He looks way too similar. Practically a flawless clone. It truly seems the legend survived from 20 years ago, purposefully hiding his immortal face behind a mask. If he stays perfectly quiet, I absolutely will not expose his identity. Subaru suddenly tilts his head, asking, "Is there something completely wrong with my current appearance?" She stammers quickly, "No, absolutely nothing. Let us just continue discussing our official business." The guild president had severely warned her beforehand. Winning this legendary talent's absolute trust on their very first meeting is desperately crucial. No matter the cost, she absolutely cannot look like an incompetent amateur. Yet, bitter panic fiercely grips her chest. She strongly feels she already spectacularly botched this crucial first meeting. The more her anxious mind overthinks, the more wildly frustrated she becomes, her nervous fingers practically shredding her hair. Desperate to kill the awkward tension, she hurriedly switches the topic. Were you a massive Subaru fan before too? Subaru calmly nods. Yes, I am a total diehard fan, but I am certainly not the real legend, so please relax. But her buzzing brain completely ignores his firm denial. I am a crazy diehard Subaru fanatic too, and honestly, now I'm officially your biggest fan too. Subaru watches helplessly as she unloads a massive tidal wave of breathless praise. I have been totally hooked ever since your very first job hunting stream officially kicked off. I swear, I might honestly have been your very first dedicated viewer. The exact moment you fearlessly soloed the one-eyed bats and crushed Greg's brutal trial. That incredible match where you demanded a completely fair duel instead of taking the coward's shortcut. My palms were dripping nervous sweat when you faced that terrifying Titan fragment. But you instantly humiliated the lumbering giant with godly movement mechanics. That epic moment felt unbelievably satisfying. Subaru feels his scalp go totally numb. This wild woman is no ordinary viewer. She acts exactly like an extremely high-intensity, fully obsessed stalker. She remembers the battle details far better than he does himself. Subaru just forces a painfully dry laugh. So even when I had absolute zero viewers, you were already lurking in my stream, staring right at me. Honestly, it sounds crazy. I think it is crazy too. But maybe this is just fate. So I rushed straight to headquarters and begged them to sign you. That entire speech? A total fangirl confession. Instantly, her tone shifts to strict professionalism. She absolutely has to win Subaru's trust first. She slaps down the prepared contract. Knowing his brutal schedule, she cuts straight to the chase. Commercials, massive event streams, viral highlights. The company pledges to evolve the Subaru brand into an absolute empire. Subaru narrows his eyes. Then what is the catch? She smiles. Just keep streaming like always. We handle the rest. Subaru finds this completely absurd. Are guilds seriously this generous to their creators? But then it hits him. He wields legendary thunder magic. Naturally, his VIP treatment extends far beyond just her department. Even the highest elites of upper management view him as a priceless asset. Subaru asks one final question. Are all managers like you? Wika blushes deeply. The others are definitely more professional and reliable. But wait, I am not saying I am bad at my job. That is not what Subaru meant at all. Wika's powerful aura feels nothing like an ordinary civilian. Has the baseline power of hunters surged so high that someone this strong simply works as a manager? This chilling truth means his future enemies will be terrifyingly strong. He has zero time to rest. He must accelerate. Wika secretly panics. Did she just expose her own incompetence? What if Subaru rejects the offer entirely? Will she have to force this contract through sheer willpower? Suddenly, Subaru slowly extends his hand. I can tell you are completely trustworthy. I am in. Let us conquer this together. Wika nearly bursts into tears on the spot. No one has ever placed their total trust in her so quickly. Contract secured. Subaru launches his stream the very next day for the trial. But instantly, he spots 700 viewers flooding the chat. Subaru freezes in shock. He literally just went live. Where did this massive army of viewers come from? Is the guild secretly boosting his numbers? The reality matches his exact suspicions. Wika frantically mobilized every friend and relative to share the link, even dragging internal corporate staff into the hype train. Subaru lets out a confident laugh. Choosing her guild was absolutely the right call. Now, let the games begin. The legendary stage is finally opening. A true mythic battle is about to unfold. Meanwhile, heavy, restless sighs leak from a war tent. Over a dozen imposing figures sit gathered in the shadows. It is the scarred warrior, Pellis, and the elite vanguard. They are desperately plotting how to slaughter the giants. Pellis turns to the scarred warrior. Has our savior arrived yet? The scarred man shakes his head. Not yet. Tension snaps as someone sneers. Is it truly wise to bet our lives on a man who is not even a knight? Doubt poisons the room. They refuse to believe Subaru can slay a giant. Without seeing it firsthand, they suspect a massive scam. Pellis erupts in fury. Silence. What right do you have to question our benefactor? Suddenly, a chillingly familiar voice cuts through the air. Sir Pellis. Gasps echo as they look up. Subaru stands menacingly outside the tent flap. Pellis scrambles forward. Are your injuries fully healed? Subaru calmly brushes him off, declaring his body is perfectly fine and battle-ready. From the corner, a skeptic glares at Subaru with heavy suspicion. Back in the stream, a new viewer drops a comment. Wait, this skinny guy really crushed the giant leader? Honestly, he looks incredibly weak, and that weird mask screams total fraud. Subaru smirks and whispers back. Sounds like you refuse to believe the truth of my power. This hidden audio trick is all thanks to Wika. By shifting into a specific stance, he perfectly isolates his voice frequency. Only his loyal chat can hear these secret words. He never expected this stealth tech to be so wildly entertaining during these dull moments. The chat flares up. Do not get cocky, rookie. Just then, an imposing figure steps out of the war tent to confront Subaru. The grizzled old veteran introduces himself as Dale. It is an honor to finally meet you. Subaru nods respectfully. He explains he was busy defending the village. Everyone was mercilessly crushed to death, and the monster responsible was that thing. The tent falls dead silent. Could something truly be more terrifying than the giants? As legends state, true giants once waged bloody war against the gods themselves. After being sealed away, they vanished forever. The beasts roaming today? Mere phantom echoes born from the lingering malice of those ancient titans. But the monstrosity Subaru triggered, that abomination was dangerously close to a true mythic giant. The live chat absolutely explodes with wild theories. They cannot possibly mean that legendary abomination from the 8th floor, right? Inside the command tent, suffocating dread chokes the air. Nobody possesses the power to crush this colossal new threat. Subaru completely dismisses their panic. If a new monster dares to show its face, he will simply annihilate it. His absolute conviction steadies their trembling hearts, but a cynical live stream viewer immediately scoffs. You are way too arrogant. When that titan crushes you, you will not even realize you died. Suddenly, Sir Pellis roars through the silence. Listen closely, for an ancient myth survives to this very era. Atop that massive 1,000-year mountain peak piercing the heavens, a divine fragment of lightning slumbers within those peaks. Pellis knows in his soul that only one warrior can claim it. That destined warrior is Subaru. Meanwhile, roaring hellfire rapidly consumes a distant village while innocent people scramble desperately for survival. Looming behind the flames, a massive horde of giants marches forward. Behind the vanguard stands an unimaginably colossal, long-haired titan, roaring for his fallen son. He snatches a terrified village guard. With a sickening crunch, he mercilessly squeezes the life out of the soldier. He vows to drown the earth in human blood to honor his child. Watching from the shadows, Subaru locks eyes on the beast. This monstrosity operates on a completely different level. Its overwhelming aura is suffocating. Panic erupts across the live chat. Why in the world is this boss so colossal? Subaru grips his reins, calculating endless battle scenarios. How can he overcome this immense disparity? Worried fans beg him to abandon the quest. Continuing forward simply guarantees absolute slaughter. That towering behemoth is totally far beyond his current power level. Pelus's grim warning echoes in his mind. The Titan army will reach our gates in exactly 3 days. If you cannot harness the thunder by then, you must retreat. Flight is our only salvation. For your own survival, please listen. Soon after, Subaru stands before the imposing 1,000-year mountain. Slaying that titan requires the ultimate lightning attribute. This is the true, hidden condition of the trial. Subaru lacks god-tier stats right now, yet his unwavering conviction remains. Inside this tower, no trial exists that I cannot conquer. The second those words leave his mouth, he mentally panics. Damn it, why did I carelessly blurt out my legendary old catchphrase? Predictably, sharp-eyed viewers immediately recognize the quote. That iconic line sparks a wave of nostalgic déjà vu in the chat. Luckily, the audience totally misses the crucial connection. Suddenly, glowing blue system windows flood Subaru's vision while viewers shower him with massive donations. Standing completely alone at the base of 1,000-year mountain, Subaru narrows his eyes. The legendary lightning sleeps somewhere inside. However, a critical dilemma emerges. How is he supposed to actually extract this mythical fragment? He presses his palm against the cliff, realizing the ancient bedrock feels infinitely tougher than standard stone. Pellis claimed this lightning fragment was purely mythological. It could be an aura, an ancient artifact, or even a living soul. Nobody actually knows the truth. Tragically, beyond the physical coordinates and the vague folklore, their tactical intel is completely zero. The single verified fact is legendary. The previous lightning wielder had utterly obliterated the giant race with one apocalyptic strike. Meanwhile, Wika answers a private call from the guildmaster. She squeals in excitement, confirming the exclusive contract is secured. A booming, victorious laugh echoes through her earpiece. Excellent work, kid. The president praises her hustle, promising to forward a list of high-value targets for her next assignment. Ending the call, Wika joyfully collapses onto her mattress. Tuning into Subaru's broadcasts is her absolute favorite hobby. She eagerly loads the live feed. But seconds later, Subaru's confident voice echoes through her speakers. Inside this tower, no trial exists that I cannot conquer. Her heart instantly sinks. She bolts upright in sheer panic. Did this idiot seriously just leak his true identity on a live broadcast? That iconic declaration belonged to a legendary hero from 20 years ago. Now, He boldly chants it before thousands of viewers. This recklessness practically invites a death sentence. Back at the mountain base, violent arcs of electricity engulf Subaru's entire body. Ready to test a crazy new theory, he unleashes a devastating punch directly into the unbreakable cliff. Pulling back his trembling arm, he concentrates his mana. Channeling every ounce of explosive aura, he delivers a second catastrophic blow. Deafening thunderclaps erupt violently around him. Slowly, glowing rock fragments chip away from the massive wall. Subaru smirks dangerously. I found you. The legendary lightning fragments. He acts on absolute instinct after sensing an ancient electrical current violently calling out to him. His crazy gamble completely pays off. Concealed within the shattered stone is a mysterious gateway. That overwhelming energy pulses right behind it. Without hesitation, Subaru steps into the abyss. The chat goes absolutely wild in breathless shock. This hidden dungeon is a massive world-first discovery. Standing boldly before the ancient stone threshold, Subaru slowly presses his glowing palm against the cold surface. The second his fingertips brush the ancient stone, a violent current surges through him. System prompt. Lightning generation initiated. Simultaneously, his wedge of greed activates, absorbing the devastating thunder recoil. Without hesitation, Subaru condenses raw, crackling lightning directly into his palm. His destiny waits behind these heavy walls. That magnetic pull from earlier wasn't just a feeling, it was a literal summon. In that case, he only has one answer. He'll blast this entire gateway to dust with an even more overwhelming lightning strike. The thunderous aura around Subaru violently erupts, slamming relentlessly against the massive door's seal. Under the devastating erosion of pure electricity, the heavy stone violently trembles. Slowly, Subaru watches a terrifying gap tear open. He successfully forces the impossible barrier open. This hidden trial was practically buried. If that thunderous force hadn't guided him, he never would have found this secret mountain entrance. Subaru steps forward, entering the unknown darkness. He retraces the steps of his past, guided solely by the terrifying echoes of thunder. The moment he steps inside, the massive stone door slams completely shut behind him. Unless he flawlessly clears this brutal stage, he will never escape this tomb. Meanwhile, Pellis urgently discusses survival countermeasures with his senior officers. One hardened elder questions him. Do you truly believe that outsider can master the legendary thunder? Pellis doesn't waver for a single second. He absolutely will. If he fails, then absolutely no one in this world stands a chance. The elder gasps in pure shock. Pellis places unimaginable trust in a total stranger. He has already proven his absolute dominance, Pellis explains. I have zero reason to doubt him. Suddenly, a terrified whimper echoes from the darkest corner of the command tent. Even if he controls the heavens, it changes absolutely nothing. We are all walking corpses. Everyone turns, spotting a high-ranking officer shivering violently. Having witnessed the apocalyptic power of that giant firsthand, his spirit is completely shattered. He believes victory is literally impossible. Pellis tries to steady him. Do not despair. We refuse to surrender so easily. Place faith in him. He will manifest a miracle. But the officer suffers a total breakdown. Easy for you to say. You have zero comprehension of that giant's world-ending terror. The terrified man rubs his fingers until they bleed raw, completely numb to the agonizing pain. Suddenly, an earth-shattering explosion erupts right outside their war tent. A devastating shockwave follows, aggressively rattling every single cup on the strategic table. A bloodied soldier desperately sprints inside. We have catastrophic news. The colossal giants are attacking. Instantaneously, every single commander leaps from their seats, their faces twisting in sheer, unadulterated horror. Meanwhile, deep within the ancient cavern, stepping inside, Subaru pushes his battle senses to their absolute maximum. He has zero clue what this mysterious pulling force desires from him. He advances through the oppressive darkness for hours, yet discovers absolutely nothing. A dedicated viewer in his livestream comments, "It is not empty space. The lightning is just moving way too fast for human eyes." The chat is absolutely right. Before a massive discharge, lightning remains a dispersed electric charge, completely invisible to ordinary human perception. Even a powerhouse like Subaru cannot track it. The ambient charge's speed effortlessly breaks the limits of naked eye vision. Realizing this, Subaru slowly shuts his eyes. 3 grueling days pass. Suddenly, an overwhelmingly powerful electric surge calls out from the cavern's darkest depths. His eyes snap open as a crazy theory forms in his genius mind. Bending down, he casually scoops up a solid rock. Without hesitation, he hurls the heavy stone forward at absolute breakneck speeds. Just as he calculated, invisible lightning completely saturates the heavy air, and the deeper the trajectory, the more violent the deadly electrical reaction becomes. Instantly, the compounding velocity and pure energy crush the solid stone into fine powder. Witnessing this terrifying destruction, the entire live chat is dead silent. Cold sweat drips down Subaru's face. The danger heavily exceeds calculations. This brutal stage is a pure test of endurance. If my body fails, I will literally die here. Quickly, his loyal viewers start spamming encouragement, and one high roller drops a massive 100-point bounty task. You must reach the absolute peak. Otherwise, you risk losing that godly thunder skill you just acquired. Countless viewers aggressively spam their support. Rapidly, the total mission reward pool skyrockets to an insane 3,000 points. Resolving his iron will, Subaru takes a fierce step forward. Instantly, violent streaks of lightning aggressively explode across his entire physique. He humbly thanks his chat for the insane bounties, vowing to flawlessly conquer this deadly mission. Meanwhile, a certain someone is secretly glued to Subaru's broadcast. From the exact second Subaru hit live, Shu had secretly slipped into the viewer list. Suddenly, the room door violently swings open. Reina struts inside, terrifying Shu so intensely that he aggressively minimizes the livestream window. Reina stares in deep suspicion. "Why are you hiding your phone? Do not tell me you are watching something dirty." Shu nervously stammers that he is not hiding anything. He merely locked his screen because his exhausted eyes needed a quick break. Reina drops the interrogation, randomly joking that quiet people somehow grow their hair much faster. Honestly, Reina has been incredibly troubled lately. Ever since Shu dropped that dramatic line, she has desperately forced herself to boycott Subaru's streams. The sheer curiosity is literally driving her completely insane. Shu possesses zero mood for idle chatter. His only burning desire is to rush back into that intense livestream. "How long are you staying?" he asks. Reina blinks in pure confusion. Shu has never tried to kick her out before. "Can I just relax on your couch?" she asks, baffled by his weird reaction. Shu purposely raises his voice, desperate to drive her away. "Reina, what are we eating tonight? Grilled fish or meat?" he screams, his voice piercing like an ultrasonic wave. Reina's eardrums nearly shatter, but Shu keeps yelling, "Relax as much as you want. The couch is all yours." Meanwhile, his fingers crush his phone's down volume button for dear life. He is terrified even a sliver of stream audio might leak out. Reina senses his bizarre, abnormal behavior today. Something is definitely hiding in the shadows. She finally turns to leave. "I am done with you. Do whatever you want." Watching her walk away, Shu releases a massive sigh of relief. He even throws in a fake, polite parting line. "Stay and eat bread if you want. Lie down if you need to." But Reina is completely over his nonsense. She steps out and slams the door shut. Shu wipes his sweat that was way too close. Almost caught red-handed, he eagerly dives right back into the live stream. If Reina finds out he is secretly watching Subaru's stream, she will definitely explode. He cannot even fathom the apocalyptic argument that would surely follow. Shu's eyes soften with a lonely gaze. Even if their roles were reversed, Subaru would never have forgotten them. As he watches, a chilling realization sets in. This mysterious streamer is acting more and more like the boss. It is terrifying, even his speech patterns and fierce personality are identical. But there is one glaring difference. Desperately scrambling for cheap points is totally against the boss's style. The boss never risked his own life for money. Shu lets out a low, bitter chuckle. "Who exactly are you, anyway? You are way too much like him." Completely absorbed in the screen, he fails to notice a creeping hand dropping onto his shoulder. He slowly turns around, freezing in absolute shock. Reina has doubled back, catching him totally off guard. She glares at him, aura turning pitch black. "I knew you were acting suspicious. Did you seriously think I would not notice? You want to fool me? Try again in 100 years. Meanwhile, inside the deadly trial. Every single step Subaru takes summons a brutal thunderstrike right on the spot. The instant the lightning blasts him, a system window flashes into view. Progress 2.3%. This crushing feeling is dangerously familiar. He has tanked heavenly lightning so many times he lost count. He takes another step. Ironically, this system is almost friendly, displaying his ultimate goal directly. The livestream chat explodes in pure confusion. Why isn't he running away? Subaru mutters quietly that he can no longer chat with them from this point on. Defying the heavens, he pushes forward, step by agonizing step. Reaching the end has always been his undeniable destiny. However, the raw lightning damage is absolutely devastating. His palms are charred pitch black, yet it is still not enough to break his iron will. Elsewhere, Hawkeye stares intensely at Subaru's viral stream. From the exact second Subaru went live, Hawkeye has not blinked or looked away once. President John had told Hawkeye they moved mountains just to invite Subaru for a massive collaboration. This is no small matter at all. After all, the last time President John personally descended to handle a situation was a very, very long time ago in this industry. And John has repeatedly hammered this crucial point into Hawkeye. The commercial machine of streaming can only go so far with one person. Hawkeye had only smiled at the time. Popularity only drives specific player categories and similar archetypes. After beating around the bush so much, John's ultimate message boils down to one single, earth-shattering sentence. Subaru is not just some ordinary streamer. He is a genuine, cold-blooded hunter. Though technically a novice, he broadcasts with the chilling style of an omnipresent observer. John believes this is an unparalleled opportunity. They absolutely must seize this blazing comet, ride its momentum into the sky, and rise alongside him. That bold declaration leaves Hawkeye completely stunned. But in the next second, an ambitious golden light flares in his eyes. The boss is absolutely right. This is a fate-changing opportunity. More than anyone else, he hungers to become a true star. Hawkeye wants to shine in the galaxy above the 9 heavens. From the very day he stepped into the streaming underworld, that has been his one and only dream. He instinctively reaches his hand toward the screen, desperate to confirm if he too can stand at that godlike height. But the next second, he snaps back to harsh reality. What kind of delusional nonsense is he thinking about during work? He immediately stands up, locking his gaze back onto Subaru's stream. It would have been better to look away, because the instant he sees the screen, his face drains of color. Has this crazy bastard gone completely insane? Who gave him this much terrifying nerve? Right now, under the soul-crushing pressure of heavenly lightning, Subaru has already pushed forward a massive distance. With every passing second, the lethal lightning burns his skin away piece by bloody piece. His arms are already charred, a horrific pitch black. Yet, even mangled to this gruesome extent, Subaru refuses to make a single sound. Gritting his teeth, he slowly lifts his foot, preparing for the next deadly step. The second his boot slams down, a relentless storm of lightning erupts from the earth, violently surging straight into his core. Subaru channels every ounce of his aura to brace himself. This devastating strike hits infinitely harder and deeper than before. Moments later, he finally withstands the fierce onslaught, desperately gasping for air. The fiercer the current, the deeper it pierces his flesh. Subaru realizes he is finally reaching the breaking point. A lethal dose of raw electricity already courses through his veins. He feels the violent lightning flooding his central meridians and every minor mana circuit. System progress marks 20.7%. Hitting 1/5 completion, the fierce lightning violently forces his meridians to evolve. A brutal, full-body marrow cleansing. With every agonizing strike tearing through his pathways, residual lightning sinks deep into his flesh. It morphs into raw mana, though some leaks out. He grits his teeth, forcefully gripping the energy to make it his own. His 2 main meridians run along his core, while the delicate fine channels web across every single inch of his physique. Tearing those minor channels open means pure thunder has fully saturated his entire being. By utilizing his current vessel, Subaru completely bypasses the tedious process of purifying his pathways. He takes a brutal shortcut, abandoning his slow-paced methods. Fresh blood drips from his mouth, a grim reminder of his agonizing reality. The internal damage is catastrophic. Under normal circumstances, he would have relied entirely on magic. Hijacking the lightning is undeniably faster, but the excruciating pain defies description. A grisly trail of blood stains his path, yet Subaru refuses to look back, pushing forward with relentless grit. He knows stopping before the absolute end means death. Suddenly, another violent cough sends dark blood spilling from his lips. Meanwhile, Wika leans against a cold wall, anxiously watching the broadcast. The horrific footage alone reveals the brutal cruelty of this trial. Even Wika can clearly see Subaru forcibly tearing open his delicate blood vessels. She has never witnessed such a suicidal method. Moving without internal magic, he uses devastating external forces to violently pry his pathways open. That sheer agony completely defies mortal imagination. Any ordinary person would have instantly blacked out, entirely unable to even sit upright. Tower deaths do not affect reality, but the excruciating pain is utterly real. Wika's hands tremble violently as she watches. Why push himself to this terrifying extreme? She simply prays for Subaru to return safely, without his mind totally shattering. System alerts relentlessly flood in. Progress reaches 50 fine channels evolving. Thunderous power surges within, mana +1. Yet, in that exact second, profound sorrow suddenly eclipses his heart. Flashbacks of his past arrogant self flood his mind. The crushing realization hits he might as well have murdered his comrades himself. Back during their fatal 8th floor raid, he arrogantly claimed no trial could ever stop him. He promised absolute safety, boasting that as long as he fought, ultimate victory was their destiny. Hearing those blindingly arrogant words, his teammates offered him their complete, unreserved trust. Rina and Shu, standing at the vanguard, believed his lies the absolute most. They truly understood his soul. Yet, if not for his blinding hubris, their entire squad would have never been slaughtered. If he had not spoken so recklessly, if his supreme conceit hadn't forced them onward, none of them would be dead. I am the origin of this sin. We were never supposed to die. And Itsuki, one day I will flay him alive with my bare hands. The instant Itsuki's smug face flashes in his mind, A monstrous wave of power violently erupts from Subaru's core. It drives his battered legs forward. This is all my fault. I'm unworthy of being captain. Suddenly, Subaru collapses heavily into the dirt. Covered in vicious wounds, his shattered consciousness finally begins to blur and fade away. He teeters on the edge of blacking out. Yet, upon opening his eyes, the world radically shifts. Subaru freezes entirely. Where is he? It feels like he has reverted to his past self. Whipping his head around, he spots a familiar group camping nearby. It is the fallen Blue Eyes Guild members from the past. Heart-pounding, Subaru violently shoves through the tall grass. He desperately treats this miracle like a dream. They just have to be alive. They must still be safe and unharmed. Sprinting toward the two figures at the rear, hot tears flood his vision. He chokes out a desperate greeting. How are you here? I suffer nightmares every single night. I've been terrified. But as they turn around, their voices drip with ice. Subaru, you drove us into the grave. Their horrifying appearance makes Subaru jolt in absolute shock. What happened to you? And not just them. Even the quiet girl beside them whispers from the shadows. You spoke such heroic lies. So why didn't you protect us? Look at our miserable deaths. Seeing Chino's expression, Subaru's pupils shrink violently. Hellfire engulfs their bodies as they corner him step by agonizing step. Subaru desperately tries to speak, but his throat locks completely shut, choking back every single word. In this chilling moment, they resemble vengeful spirits returning to violently claim his life. Staring at their blazing forms, Subaru's heart violently rips apart. Do not go. Please do not leave. Stay here, please. He desperately lunges forward to grab them. Yet no matter who he reaches for, his hands grasp only empty air. Subaru collapses helplessly onto his knees, his voice completely shattering. Do not go, stay, this was all my fault. Boom! A blinding burst of light violently explodes inside his mind. Only then does the truth hit him. This is the terrifying illusion commonly seen when fine channels open. He just barely avoided fatal chi deviation. The system interface flashes, showing progress hitting exactly 97%. Fine channel evolution is currently in progress. Roaring thunder permanently settles inside his body. Mana increased by 1. The second Subaru violently shatters that trial. A twisted sense of gratitude toward its cruel creator fills him. Whoever built this hellish nightmare, thank you for violently reminding me why I survive. Itsuki, just you wait. Sooner or later, I will destroy you. Meanwhile, the desperate fighters below clash against the white-haired giant. This is no longer simple defense. The entire city's survival hangs by a thread. A colossal figure aggressively blocks their path. The second everyone truly sees its horrifying form, absolute ice freezes their veins. This monster is entirely beyond their power. Even attacking together, they are nothing but mere fodder for this beast. One soldier's voice violently shakes. This has to be some sick joke, right? So, that masked warrior really did abandon us, someone murmurs. Pelia growls darkly. No, our great benefactor will absolutely return. There is absolutely zero need for panic. Blazing fury erupts from within his chest. You entrusted this village's fate to a nameless stranger, yet you dare doubt him now? Pellis burns with deep shame. With your pathetic attitudes, you dare call yourselves true knights? You are just a pathetic pack of cowards, terrified of death. Someone behind firmly pats his shoulder. You speak the truth. They are absolutely cowards, terrified of death, Dale declares to the panicked crowd. Before blaming others, carve this into your memories. Protecting this village is our ultimate duty. With a chilling scrape, the veteran knight slowly draws his longsword. True knights never hide behind others. True knights shield the weak. Anyone with real courage, charge forward with me. Without hesitation, Dale violently blasts forward. Despite his old age, every single step strikes like crushing iron. Pellis and a fearless knight squad surge right behind him. Dale's thunderous roar shakes the battlefield. Today, we die standing proudly as legendary knights. Meanwhile, Subaru's grueling evolution progress hits exactly 99%, rapidly approaching its climax. However, his physical vessel is hitting its absolute breaking point. He doubts his mortal body can survive this final 1%. A glowing spherical bead floats right before him. He has zero clue what this artifact is, but it clearly represents the final 1%. Instantly, Subaru's critical fatigue gauge wildly rockets to 97. If fatigue hits 100, he permanently dies. His protective mask practically shatters, while thick trails of blood continuously pour from his trembling eyes. Only one brutal step remains. He absolutely refuses to die right here. Suddenly, the system interface flashes a blaring red warning. You must immediately recover lost stamina. Continuing this forward movement is catastrophically dangerous. Subaru outright ignores the blaring warning, violently forcing his heavy foot to take another step. Elsewhere, Dale aggressively stomps his armored boot against the earth. Today, this veteran knight stands as the ultimate vanguard. If death claims him, he will make his final sacrifice matter. With unyielding resolve, explosive power surges through his weary arm. He brutally slashes the giant's massive limb, causing a spectacular fountain of blood to violently erupt. The colossal beast unleashes an earth-shattering shriek. It is as if since birth, it has never tasted such devastating agony. Retaliating instantly, the beast ruthlessly lunges toward Dale, but the veteran gracefully evades the strike. The beast's gargantuan frame makes its chaotic movements sluggishly predictable. Seizing the opening, Pellis fiercely charges forward with his glowing blade. Dale, hold the line, backup is here. Roaring like a raging beast, he channels his entire soul into the heavy blade. Leave the rest to me. He violently vaults off the monster's shattered knee. Using that explosive momentum, he rockets skyward, aiming directly for the creature's exposed skull. That remains its sole critical weakness. Suspended midair, Pellis resembles a legendary knight blessed by the pale moonlight. His heavy sword crashes down, viciously cleaving straight through the beast's thick skull. With one blinding flash of steel, the monster's severed head drops instantly. The headless colossal corpse crashes down. Nobody ever expected Pellis to possess such terrifying, overwhelming strength. With a heavy, thunderous crash, Pellis sticks his heroic landing. The surviving knights erupt into wild cheers. As expected of our legendary Sir Pellis and Sir Dale, "We actually killed it!" Cheering madly, several enraged knights furiously rush forward, viciously stabbing the dead giant's bleeding corpse over and over. "Filthy monster, stay dead forever." Pellis shoots a grateful glance toward Dale. "Thank you for that heavy reminder. The ultimate threat is finally dead. We can breathe again." However, Dale merely utters one terrifying word. "No." His hardened face looks incredibly grim. "That is not the monster I meant." Nearby, clueless soldiers are still laughing. So giants are nothing special after all. A split second later, their arrogant grins entirely freeze. A colossal foot slams down, instantly crushing a soldier's skull. The man's body explosively shatters into horrific fragments. Pellis and Dale finally see the true nightmare, and Dale screams, "That is the absolute monster I meant." Pellis's face violently pales. This titan exists on a completely terrifying level. We cannot possibly defeat that thing. Everyone, fall back. Meanwhile, Subaru's grueling evolution process finally hits its crucial point. Dragging his brutally exhausted body, he finally stands before the blinding light sphere. The second his fingers grip the orb, progress blasts to 100%. "I will finish this, then apologize in hell. I will claim Suki's head as your ultimate memorial." Suddenly, violent bolts of lightning forcefully converge onto the glowing orb. In a blinding flash, a colossal lightning pillar swallows him. This devastating surge catches him entirely off guard. Despite being brutally pierced by the heavenly strike, Subaru absolutely refuses to fall. The excruciating trial ends, evolution completely successful. But in that exact moment of triumph, Subaru's pupils shrink. A horrifying sensation erupts deep inside his veins. Focusing his chaotic mind, he realizes countless blades of pure lightning are still violently tearing through his internal organs. It feels like he is being ripped apart. System notification. Fine, channel evolution complete. Magic amplification increased by 20%. All skill activation speeds increased by 20%. All base attributes +2. For a breathless second, Subaru cannot speak. Even at the absolute bitter end, this merciless system still had to punish him with one final agonizing strike. At the very least, it could have let him boast to the livestream about how legendary that blast felt. With a heavy thud, Subaru crashes into the dirt, blacking out completely. The system flashes perfectly. Stage 6, Legend cleared.